Hello, I don't know if anyone's out there, but if you are, welcome to the channel. So here we go. All right. Well, it's not quite 8 o'clock, but it's almost. I started a tad early, but not too bad. Uh, well, like I said, I don't know if anybody's listening, so it's kind of hard to talk when you don't know if you're being heard. But so, welcome to the channel. It's Saturday night here in the United States. It's Sunday morning in the Philippines. Julianne Martin, hello, welcome. Tim, how you doing, man? Glad to see you guys made it. Let me know if you're hearing me. Good morning, Julianne. Let me do this here. Hey, Maris, how you doing? There we go. All right, everybody. Sorry about that. I hope everybody's having a good day or a good night, depending on where you're at. I know in Julianne, if you're still in Hong Kong, I know it's night there. It's morning, excuse me. China's about 12 hours ahead of us. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. Same thing in the Philippines. It's 8 o'clock at night here on Saturday night. You guys are all Sunday. So now, folks, Julianne Martin has a nice vlog. She does artwork and she does some travel around her area and some other places. A lot of you know that Tim has a good vlog as well. He does a lot of stuff on the Philippines. And, well, everybody, like I said, welcome to the channel. If you want to post your link, just type in LLL, and my Nightbot will type it for you. Or you can put it in yourself if you got a blue jacket. But so I'm glad you all came. I know probably won't see Dan and Mammy here because they happen to be in Thailand on vacation. So I hope they're enjoying themselves. I don't know if they're watching or not. I'm hoping they're having a blast there. I'm behind on a lot of vlogs right now. I just came off a vacation, as a lot of you know. Charmaine, good morning. How you doing? I just came off a vacation from my hometown, Terre Haute. Took a little over a week off, almost 9 days, 10 days, something like that. I hated going back to work on Wednesday. But hey, I got to pay my bills somehow because I don't do this for a living. That's a good thing, too, because I'd be broke. Green tea, people. Ice green tea. Charmaine, you're a good woman. I'm a lousy housekeeper. I mean, I know this. I'm a lousy housekeeper. I think a lot of men are. I happen to be worse than most. Yeah, how you doing? Welcome. Glad to see you here. Like I said, anybody that wants to, just like Tim did earlier, just type in 3 L's, small L's or capital L's, it doesn't matter. And my Nightbot will drop your link for you. So glad to see everybody here. So, like I said, it's been a kind of a weird week. I got back to New York on Monday evening. I took Tuesday off and did some running around. Went back to work Wednesday. Only worked Wednesday and Thursday. Hey, Tim, you can't be any worse than me, buddy. But I happened to get Friday off starting this Friday. So I worked 2 days and I'm in the middle day of my 3-day weekend. I work 4/10s. I've told you all before. But I used to get Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. But starting this week, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So today feels like Sunday to me because it's my second day off. So I still got to get used to this. Got to remember to set my alarm for Monday when the right time to get up and go to work. I'll get adjusted to it. It's just days off that I got to adjust, not not my time schedule. But we'll get it done. And so I had a great time back home. I didn't take too many videos. Matter of fact, I put up the ones I did take already. Because I went home to visit family and not do any YouTube this time. As a lot of you know, I went home to see my mother, who's 98 years old. She's getting worse as far as her memory goes. I've told you before, a lot of you, that my mom has dementia. She's always remembered me before, but there's a couple times that this trip, she had a hard time remembering who I was. So that's getting tough. But I did get to see a lot of cousins I haven't seen in 20, 30 years or more. I had cousins come up from Florida. I hadn't seen them in a good 20 years. I'm trying to think. At least 20, maybe 30. It's my cousin Paul and her husband. Hey, Sam Gloves. I like leather gloves, Sam. Hang on a minute, man. Let me give you. There you go, Sam. You got monitor. And if you want to push the channel, Sam, just type in 3Ls. My bot will drop it for you. But yeah, my mom, as far as her mental health, is getting worse. I went by on Sunday just before I left, and I couldn't wake her up. You could tell she was sleeping, but she did not. And she said she's been having trouble sleeping. But Sunday I couldn't wake her up, so I went ahead and left. She didn't seem to want to wake up, and I have some cleaning gloves at home, Sam. The kind of rubber type cleaning gloves you can use for doing dishes and stuff. And I do have some disposable gloves as well, extra large. They're kind of almost like a surgical glove, but they're so I do have those as well, Sam. I really do. But I prefer my leather gloves or for actual wearing. But I do have those for when I have to clean something I don't want to clean. And I'm going to have to get my hands down into it. I'm sorry, Sam, but I'm not wearing that stuff while I'm live streaming. But anyway, like I said, we had a good time. I got to see a bunch of cousins I haven't seen in, like I said, 30 years or more. That was on Saturday. We had a really nice reunion. One of my aunts was in the hospital, so I stopped by and seen her in the hospital. And this is my Uncle Everett, who's passed away, but this is his wife, my mom's oldest brother's wife. And there was quite a big age difference between my Uncle Everett and my Aunt Tilly. My Uncle Everett was in his 90s when he died, and my Aunt Tilly's in her 70s now, mid to late 70s, I want to say. I want to say she's younger than my oldest sister. I could be wrong. But there was a good 15, 20 years between them. They got married late in life, too. Like I said, my family didn't have a big to do about large age gaps. My parents were only 7 years apart. My Uncle Paul and his wife were 10 years apart. So, like I said, it's not a big whoop in my family, especially if you get married later in life and they're not children. I mean, Uh, but yeah, so anyway, no, I'm sorry, Sam. No, I'm not wearing any disposable gloves or rubber gloves. Uh, I'm not going to do it. I mean, if you have to leave because I won't do it, I understand, but I'm not doing it. So you can forget that noise. I only wear them when I have to do some work. I don't want to waste them because, especially the disposable gloves, I'd have to throw them away afterwards. I'm not going to do that. It's just waste of time. And my rubber gloves, I don't like them. Well, I only wear them when I have to. So that's not going to happen. Uh, I don't even have any gloves in here. If I had some regular gloves, I might have put them on for you, Sam, but no, you can forget it. Uh, but if anybody wants to come up, there's the link at the top of the message there. You just go ahead and click on that, and I'll bring you up, and you can introduce yourself and talk about what you want. We'll talk together. If not, I'll just talk for a while. And I'm glad all of you came. But yeah, I'm with you, Jim, about the housekeeper. Here in the States, I really don't think I can afford one, especially like I said, I'm trying to get out of debt and save the money. Jim, the reason why I haven't left is because of my mother. One of the reasons. Uh, when I moved out here, my mother was still in her 70s. I've been out here. Oh, she was in her mid 70s in good health. I'd go back home every year to visit the family, sometimes twice. When I first moved out of here, I went home a couple times a year, but I had 4-day weekends every so often, and I would go home for the 4-day weekend. I was a lot younger myself. Like I said, it was over 25 years ago. And I could drive home. I could work till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, take off from work and drive straight through to Terre Haute and get in late. But I had a key. I can go in, go to bed. I'd sleep till the morning. I'd get up late morning, but it'd still be in the morning. I would visit with the family until my 4th day when I had to be back to work the next day. And I would leave there in the afternoon, drive straight through, get home before midnight, and then sleep till about 6 and get up and go to work. I didn't do that on every 4-day weekend, but I did that at least every other 4-day weekend when I first moved out here. And I've continued to go home as much as I can. As long as I can afford it, I go home. So, it's like I said, I'm not going anywhere till I've told you all this before. I'm not going anywhere until my mom passes away. I don't want to be in the Philippines if I need to go home and see her before she goes. If I get the call, I can jump and go. It would be harder on me now to drive straight through because when I first moved out here, I lived up by Buffalo, Tim. Now I live down by Albany, so it's another 4 hours to the drive. So before it was like, well, I like to speed. Let's be honest about it. I got a lead foot when it comes to driving. And so anyway, I could do it in 8 to 9 hours from where I lived at before. And that's counting stopping, going to the bathroom, getting something to eat, And if I really pushed it, I could do it in 8 hours. I don't believe I can do it in 12, but I can do it in 16 or less. If I really pushed it, I could probably do it in about maybe 14 hours. But I don't be able to stop for gas and food and no, that would be it. I could do, I could fill up the car maybe twice after I took off. It would take me about 2 fills. Big Mac Daddy's coming up. Hey, Mac Daddy.
Hey, Larry, how you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you. Like I said, I was on vacation last week.
Nothing wrong with that. We all got to do that.
I was home visiting family last Saturday, so there was no way I was going to do a live stream.
I hear you there.
Well, we had a big family reunion on my mom's mother's side. And a lot of these cousins are my mom's, and even though they're my age, some of them, they're my mom's first cousin. They're, not mine, but they're cousins with those cousins. Like you take Kathy. Kathy, I think, is a year younger than I am. And, but she's my mom's first cousin. And she was an aunt the day she was born. There's like 20 years between her and her oldest siblings, maybe more.
All them farming families.
Oh, they were city folks.
Well, a lot of times they have them like, well, even back in the day, they have them like stair steps.
Yeah. Well, my mom's, my grandmother, my mom's mom, her brother, it was her brother's family, her brother Malcolm's, and my aunt Edith, and they had a whole passel of kids. I mean, I can't remember how many, a dozen or more. And like I said, there's about 20 years between the oldest and the youngest. The youngest two were around my age. One was about a year older than the other my age, I think. And Billy's since passed away. That was the other guy, and my other cousin. But they were both aunts or uncles the days they were born. And they had more than one niece and nephew at that time. I went to school with Kathy's cousin, Carl Lawson Jr., was my age and her age. And then there was Rusty Lawson, and there was a couple others, and that was just one sister. Alta Lawson was
How'd you make
Price,
out with how'd you make out with the hurricane weather? You get anything up there in New York?
We got rain every day, but it quit raining Friday afternoon and didn't rain again until after I left. Running some rain coming back, but yeah, we had rain every day I was home. But
It rained
Saturday, I left on Sunday.
It rained before sunrise here yesterday, and it was spotty who got nailed.
Yeah,
I didn't get nailed, but north of me got wiped out.
Yesterday we had rain. I mean, and I did my laundry yesterday, and the drainage down by the laundry mat on site, I was wading through about 2-3 inches of water, but I was wearing my water sandals. So, I mean, it's like I knew the water was going to be big, so I just wore my water sandals because they dry out. You just, that's what they're made for, wading through stuff like that. But now Mac Daddy's saying hi. Sam Gloves is saying hi to you, Mac Daddy.
Hi, everybody. My eyes are doing good, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah, and Tim just said hi to you as well. And Yin's kind of waving. So, yeah, yeah. Now, I found out one of my cousins came down with COVID after I left.
Yeah, COVID's poking around all over.
I can't hear you. My earpiece fell out.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. My earpiece fell out. Hey, Eileen, how you doing? But he came down with COVID after I met with him. I mean,
COVID's popping up all over again.
Yeah. This is the cousin. We're 11 days apart in age. I go home. I see him and his wife. Not always his kids, but because our age, his kids are fully grown. He's got
Sure.
grandkids that are in. Well, one of them I think is maybe even out of high school, but the oldest one I believe he's in high school if he's not out. But he's getting up there in age. He's old enough to drive. I know that. But his youngest son, which is quite a bit younger than the oldest, he's in his 20s. His oldest son's in his 30s,
I got to jump off
pushing
here for a
40.
minute.
All right, I'll be here.
I got somebody trying to buy shine at my door, and I've kind of quit the biz. They still
All
don't
right.
leave me alone.
All right, we'll
I'll
see
be
you in a
back.
bit. All right, I'll be here. Now, Tim, we didn't get 8 inches of rain like you did in 24 hours, but we did get a few inches here. Now, like I said, in Terre Haute, it rained every day. Now, it didn't rain a lot every day, but it did rain. And then when it quit raining, it just got hot. I mean, it was in the upper 80s most of the time. Sometimes it even made it into the 90s after it rained. So you know how that feels after it rains. Kind of makes things a little muggy sometimes. And but I still enjoyed my time home. Like I said, I got to see my mom. All four of my sisters. My oldest sister rode back with me. She lives halfway between Buffalo and Rochester, New York. I stopped and picked her up, and then she stayed with another cousin of ours who's getting ready to move down to, I believe it's Vincennes, Indiana. Or it's either Vincennes or Evansville. I can't remember which. She's got a daughter that lives down. As a matter of fact, I think it's one of her granddaughters she's moving down close to. So she's moving down there. So my sister's helping her pack up and get rid of a lot of stuff, so they can move what they have to and then sell the house. She wants to sell the house. She's not sure if she's going to buy another home or if she's just going to rent someplace to live. That's her decision, not mine. I have nothing to do with it. But my sister's helping her out. Now, my brother-in-law and my nephew, Tim, they left to go down the day I got back or the day after. I can't remember. They either left that Monday, which is the day I got back home, or they left Tuesday. They left Monday to go to Cleveland. I know that. That's where my brother-in-law's brother lives. My brother-in-law is the oldest of there's three boys. It's him, then his brother Ron, who lives in Cleveland, then his brother Rich, who lives in a different city, who's younger. Matter of fact, by quite a bit younger. He's like 15 years younger than my brother-in-law. And because he's my younger brother's age, who was 5 years younger than me. And I'm 10 years younger than my brother-in-law and my oldest sister. So anyway, I didn't get to see them. I did see them on the day I picked my sister up. I didn't get to see him in Terre Haute. This Tuesday, this Tuesday is his birthday. So I sent a birthday card to my sisters addressed to her. I need to call her and let her know. She's probably already got it, but I want to make sure she knows. It's a birthday card for my brother-in-law, John. They're having a party for him on Tuesday. I don't know if he knows it or not. That's why I sent it to her instead of my cousin, which is where they'll be staying at. So my brother-in-law, John, and my sister Wanda will stay at my cousin Sharon's. But I did get to see a lot of cousins. Some of them I see almost every time I go home, like Lena. Not Laura, almost probably every other time I go home. That's Lena's mother. And Lena is not Lena, Laura is my first cousin. Lena's her daughter. And then my cousin George, I see almost every time I go home. I did find out a friend of mine passed away for sure. He passed away was buried about 2 weeks before I went home. He's another one I always looked up. We'd been friends for 55 years or thereabouts. So I greatly missed not being able to see him. I did go by and see his widow and talk to her for a little bit. She and I were not close. We got along, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I didn't hang out with her when I went home. It was normally with her husband. Then occasionally I would go by where they would be at night, maybe once a week, and I would talk with her and Dave both. I did go by and give her my condolences and my family's condolences because it wasn't listed in the newspaper, so nobody knew. Because everybody I asked it, nobody knew. I told you, Sam, not going to happen, buddy. If that's what it takes to keep you here, then you can go ahead and leave anytime you want. I'm not doing it. I'm not wearing any gloves, especially the kind you're asking me to wear. I'm not going to happen. But so yeah, Jim, like I was saying earlier, you're talking about you hire a housekeeper. I would have to do the same thing once I move there. I'd probably only have her come in once or twice a week. And so I would do that here. And maybe I will after I get all my bills paid off, but not until then. It'll cost me a whole lot more money here to do it. But we'll make that decision later. But I really do hate cleaning. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? We're glad you came in. Edward Beck was up a little earlier. He said he had to answer somebody at the door. He said he'll be back. He wants to make sure that everybody knows his eyes are working well. So that's what's going on there. And so we're just trying to enjoy ourselves. Like I said, I had a nice vacation visiting with family. It was a really nice reunion. And hey, Dan and Minnie, hey, how you doing, man? I didn't think you'd make it. I wasn't sure if you'd make it. I was pretty sure you won't be coming up, but that's all right. And so anyway, like I said, it was a great vacation. I'm behind on everybody, so give me time, people, if I haven't caught up with your channels yet. I do have to do it, but I didn't watch very many YouTubes. I did watch a little bit, and some of the people know that. I attended a couple of live streams. Now, Dan, you missed this. I no longer work Fridays. Yesterday was my first Friday off. I now have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So I got up early just to join your live stream yesterday. I set my alarm to get up, and I took a nap later. But I thought I'd go in and watch a live stream. I'll probably do it again next week. Doesn't hurt. Now, I got up later compared to when I go to work. I usually get up before 4. I didn't get up to about 5:30 yesterday. So I got up about an hour and a half later. And then I took a nap afterwards. Probably about a 2-hour nap afterwards. So today I got up. I took about an hour nap today. I'm going to run with a friend tomorrow. So I don't know if I'll get a nap in tomorrow or not, which is not a bad thing. Staying away. But so anyway, that's what's going on. I'm going to go with a friend. They want to go to a Buddhist monastery, which is about 120 miles from where we live. They want somebody to go with them as company, so I'm going to go with them. Give me something to do besides sitting around the house and doing nothing. And now, Mike, do you know Julianne? Julianne has a very nice channel. She does some art. No, they're not, Dan. I like my naps, so my days off. Now, some days I don't take one because I sleep in too late. But I try to not sleep in real late and take a nap if I need it later. But if it gets late, then I don't take one. If it gets much after 3, I'm not taking a nap. Usually, if it's a little after 2, I'll take one. But if it's 3 o'clock, I usually won't. Hey, Retro, how you doing? No, I'm not into. I can't say I wouldn't enjoy that, but no, I didn't say nudist there, Mike. I said Juliana's a great artist. I like watching her paint. So she'll do some paintings, and then she'll do some walking around videos, which are nice. I have to catch up on hers too. I'm behind. I am so far behind on everybody's right now. It's kind of silly. Well, good. I hope your grandma's doing well there, Retro. Glad to hear you're doing well. We're just, like I said, I'm just trying to take care and have fun. And like I said, everybody that knows me knows I don't do this for money. Uh, I do this because I enjoy it. I enjoy, especially the live streams. I really like doing live streams, especially if I get people to come up and talk with me. I happen to be a person who likes communication. I'm glad to hear she's doing well. But now I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers. Don't get me wrong. That would be nice. But when I first started, I had no goal of I have to have 1,000. It was just let's do this, have fun, and see how it goes. There was no set limit of people I had to get to be considered successful. I wasn't doing it for that. I was doing it for my entertainment, my enjoyment. That's why I do the videos I do, and that's why I do the shorts I do, because it's something I like. I mean, I like, as you all know, I like lawn ornaments, and those female ones were gorgeous, especially the dragons and the eagles. But as you all know, I live in an apartment, so it's kind of hard to have lawn ornaments for my own place. Yeah, like I said, I just let it ride. I mean, if I hit 1,000, I hit 1,000, but I really would like to now because I'm so close. I'm just a little over 100 away, about 130 or maybe a little less, but right around 130 away from 1,000. So I really would like to hit it just to hit it. I don't plan on monetizing. That's too much work for me right now. I might do it later for the heck of it, but I don't see myself doing it, at least not right away. Like when I hit 70, a lot of you know I had that 70th birthday celebration and we gave away a lot of money. I'll probably do it again when I hit 1,000, but I'm going to have to be over 1,000 for a little bit because I've noticed that I'll go up and go back down. I'll go up and go back down. And so I want to be over 1,000 for a couple of weeks, and then we'll set up some kind of celebration. And we got Dan in minute. We got Dan. Hey, Dan, the man. How's it going, Bob?
There I am. I'm looking okay, I guess.
I see you're outside underneath the split. The LG.
It's the strangest thing being here, because I was just thinking about it, listening to you talk and stuff. And I was thinking about how life has changed so much since retirement, and I was thinking about how you could truly live a millionaire's life on a budget. I mean, it's so weird, It's so weird. It's almost like being constantly in a dream state, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everybody.
That's why I tell. Like I said, I've told my whole family. They all know that I plan on going to the Philippines. I don't hide anything from them.
Yeah.
At least half my sisters are all for it. The others are a little leery, but I mean, they're not telling me not to do it. They just, would rather I didn't.
The other strange thing about it is that you're busier sometimes. Some days is a better way to say it. Some days you're just busier than you were. I mean, just like if you were working or something like that.
Is that so better, strange. Mike? Like I said, no hat tonight, so I'll put a hat on.
My Filipino hat. I can't see the trap. I don't know what's going on.
Did you see that though? That's my Filipino hat.
I can't. For some reason, I can't see the chat.
Okay. Well, we just lost Dan. Maybe he'll come back up. I heard there's some visitors visas changes. I haven't heard what they are yet, so I'll have to check out somebody's video on it and see what it is. I hear it's going to be a little tougher, which I hope it's not. Because if I make it too tough, then that may mean I have to go somewhere else. Right now, hey, Shalyn, how you doing? Welcome. Julian, how you doing? Julian, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I don't mean to be insulting there. Shane, how you doing? We're getting a raid from Elvie. We appreciate it. Y'all would give me a thumbs up. Let's get the thumbs up going. And so, yeah, I want to welcome you all for coming in. And yeah, I know. I haven't seen it yet. Like I said, Tim, I want to watch it. I saw on Facebook where she had a thing about it, but not the video. So I have to check the video out. And like I said, I'll see how much. Hey, Anna, how you doing? But see how much it affects me. Tim says it was a good video. Appreciate that, G-Lynn. Thank you. And like I said, I want to check that out because, like I said, to me right now, my favorite, the place I want to go. Cindy, how you doing? The place I want to go is the Philippines. Rhoda, and we got Dan back. Let me get him back up. Hey, Dan, you get it worked out?
Yeah. Am I getting an echo still?
Not to me, you're not. I'm
right.
not getting an echo.
All right,
But,
sounds good.
Like I said, no, we were just discussing the changes to the visa for the. I guess P's got one up. The Filipino P's got one up, and I haven't seen it yet. Like I said, I'm really behind on some of my videos. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Hey, they're really. I don't know what's going on, but if you're on a tourist visa, it's getting really expensive to renew it. You're probably going to have to budget something like, you stay on a tourist visa for a while, you're going to have to pay like $65 a month on average, to stay in the Philippines. I mean, it's really crazy. So I think the SSRB, because of your past military, I think that's the way to go.
Well, that's probably what I'll do, but I won't do it when I first get there. Let's make sure I can handle it. Hey, Lorraine. Because like I said, you go there and you decide you can't handle it, then you're out that money. But I do want to set myself up to do it if I can before I go, so I can go stay a couple months and then make a decision.
And then I was going to be stupid about it and not get help, but I don't think I'm going to go that way. I think I'm going to have to put some money together to get JR Consulting to help me out.
Now, are you going 13A?
I think 13A is the way to go for me. Yeah. If I had prior military, I would do the other visa, but
well, I don't know if what's her name that from Steve always recommends her. I know for the other visas, and it doesn't cost you anything because the Filipino government pays her. So you know who I'm talking about when I say Steve? The expat information channel.
Yeah.
There's one that he always recommends her, and he says he says you can tip her if you want, because they'll do a lot of work, but you don't have to pay her anything, and so the government pays for it. So I may look into that. That's probably what
Right.
when I'm ready to go. I'll if she's still he's still doing it. Recommending her, I'll probably do that. Otherwise, it'll probably be JRC, like you said.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
the fees are what for the retirement visa for prior military. I think there's still a fee. There's still a fee involved.
yeah,
Something
there's a
like,
fee, but it's a lot less money per year.
oh yeah, sure. You don't have to put up all that money. The $10,000,
No. All I have to put up, I think it's 1,500 unless they change it,
1,500, right?
and then you pay
1,500. I
for.
think it's
Then it's like 1,400 unless they change that to apply. Now the
right.
1,400 you don't get back if you're turned down. You don't get that money back, but the 1,500 is yours. You get
So
that back.
as far as I know, for Minnie and I's situation, they haven't changed the Balikbayan privilege, which isn't a visa, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a stamp. They did change the shape of the stamp, I noticed. I don't know if you caught that,
No,
which I
I
thought
haven't seen the
it was kind of
stamps.
weird. They stamped it with a triangle the last time that we entered the country. But
Yeah.
now the dilemma that we're having is that she's now a dual citizen, and so the Balikbayan applies specifically for former Philippine citizens and overseas workers. So I don't know what category she falls into, and probably she gets the same privilege, or we get the same privilege. So as long as she travels with her U.S. passport. But when
Yeah.
we left the country this last time, she presented both passports, both the Philippine and the U.S. passport, and they
Okay.
didn't stamp. I noticed they didn't stamp the Philippine passport, and that was probably because the immigration officer knew we were making a mistake by presenting it. The immigration officer probably knew that I would have problems re-entering the country on the Balikbayan privilege if she stamped that passport.
All
So
right. Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's where I
A
think it's at.
couple things. Hello, Pamela. And now I'm going to read something because you said you weren't able to see the chat. Jim says I have the SRRV visa, and for me to renew it, it's $2,000 for 2 years. So it's $1,000 a year.
Wow.
I didn't think it was that much.
Dang, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well,
Is it worth it? Is it worth it to stay in the Philippines? See, this is the crazy thing. The crazy thing is that the Thai government are being very progressive about making adjustments to the visa in order to get
yeah,
people in the
you get
country.
a six like you said, you get a 60-day visa on arrival now.
Yes. Upon arrival with a chance to renew it for 1,900 baht for another 30 days. Then you could leave the country and come back, and there's no limitation. The clock starts all over again.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, it's 2,000 pesos, not $2,000 US. It's
Oh,
2,000
that's
pesos.
cheap.
Yeah,
That's
that
cheap.
is cheap. Yeah, that's
that
definitely.
that clears that up.
Oh yeah.
But see, the whole thing is, it still is a lot of paperwork.
Oh no. Well, once you got that, you just have to do something once a year. I think your ARC card or whatever every year, and
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
have to I think present yourself or something, and you're $2,000, and you can stay, and you never have to leave. On that, you never have to
That's
leave
well,
unless
it's
you
a
want to.
yeah, it's a you get your residency card, and then you have a multi-entry
Yeah, but I mean, you
opportunity.
don't have to leave. So I'm saying
You
you
don't
don't
have
have
to
to leave.
leave, but you
Yeah,
can
you
come
can.
and go as you please. That's the other
Yeah.
side of it. You
Oh
know.
yeah. So I mean, two
So
grand, 2,000 pesos.
it's
That's what, $40 for a year.
yeah,
That's not bad.
yeah. Oh, it's great. It's a fantastic deal. But
Yeah.
so long as I can get in for free under Balikbayan, I'll continue to do that. But I know that
Yeah.
it
Well,
won't go on forever
no. Well,
because
eventually you're not. I'm going to say eventually you're not going to want to travel outside the country.
I don't know about that. As long as I can move, I'm going to travel.
Okay. Well, then
See, I've thought about that. So
I mean,
far, every 6 months we bounce. We bounce out.
you know,
So no
you
problem
know,
so far.
yeah. I mean, you could. I don't know if you're allowed to leave though while you're applying for the 13A. That's something you want to find
Yeah,
out.
you can. Yeah, you can. You can, and she doesn't. Your spouse doesn't have to be with you. See, that's the unique thing about
No,
Balikbayan is
no,
that your
while you're
spouse.
applying before you get it is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Before you get to 13A, I don't know if you can do it.
Oh, prior to, as long as you're with your spouse, you could exit and enter as many times as you want.
Okay.
It
But,
actually says that in the immigration statute for Balikbayan. It says every
Tim
time
says
you enter the country, starts
Tim
over
says
again.
Tim says they didn't even stamp my passport when I went on vacation.
I think they're using biometrics now, Tim.
Yeah. And how you doing, everyman?
They're using facial recognition.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
plus, like I said, like Tim says, though, he's got the SRRV too.
Right.
So it might be different if you're just there on a tourist visa. They may want to stamp it each time. But they probably
tourist
have paperwork.
visa Balikbayan, they're going to stamp it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he's got the SRRV, so.
But I hear they're changed over to biometrics, just like flying into the United States. Nobody asked for a passport. They just said, "Welcome back to the United States, Mr. Dan." That's all they said.
And Mike's got a question. He says, "When are you going to the USA?"
When am I going back to the USA? Well, it's up in the air, but it could be as early as October or as late as April of next year.
And Tim says his next vacation is to Canada again.
Canada.
Yeah, well, that's where his sister lives. He just came back from a vacation not too long ago, and he was visiting his sister. And he's telling Tim to come to Ottawa. Anybody know Rojo? RHOJHO? We'll give him a. We'll give him a blue jacket. And now, Ro, if you want to drop your link, if you have one, just type in LLL, and my Nightbot will drop your link. And Percy, welcome. Percy Santos just joined us.
Hey, Percy.
Elvy's having a raid on my live stream.
I'm going to go grab my other phone because it drives me crazy. I can't see the chat. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll leave you up. But, so yeah, we're just trying to have fun, everybody. And I hope everybody's having a good, Sunday in the Philippines, Saturday night here, over here in the U.S. and Canada. And it depends on where you're at, what time it is. But I know in the Philippines, it's about 8:46 in the morning. And here in the States is 8:46 in the evening. Dan's a little different. Are you how many hours behind the Philippines? Are you ahead of them?
We are. Let's see. We're 1 hour to the west time wise, so that would make it 7:47 a.m. here in Thailand.
I knew there was a time difference. I just wasn't sure how much.
Yeah.
And Dan, I've not had a Coke since I've been back from my vacation.
What? Say it ain't so.
No, it's true. Green tea, buddy. I have amazing. Not. Yeah, I know. I haven't bought a Coke or anything. I've been tempted. Don't get me wrong. I've been tempted.
Congratulations.
But well, we appreciate that, Mike. Mike said he had a choice, Elvie or Larry. But I joined Elvie the other night. Turned it on while I was getting ready for bed and just left it run. And I canceled out when I was ready to go to bed. So, and I did. I watched Elvie when I was on vacation one day. She happened to be. I was up, and because I stay up later on vacation, because the two sisters I stay with, they don't go to bed till late. So I stay up and talk with them sometimes, and I'll go into my room and because I'll be watching something I don't want to watch. So I'll go in my room and play on my phone. And Elvie was live a couple of times, so I watched her. But when I met my sisters, I have to use data. They don't have internet. And Mike says he hadn't had a Coke since McDonald's. I've been to McDonald's on my way back, but I didn't drink Coke. I drank iced tea, unsweetened iced tea. Now, while I was home, I was a bad boy. I ate a lot of sweets, stuff I should not touch, but I did.
Hey, speaking of McDonald's, it's so strange here, you know. I mean, they're not busy like they are in the Philippines or in the States. You know, they might have one or two customers in there at a time. I'm talking about this particular area that we're in Jomtien or Pattaya. So we were there last night and nobody's in the place. Nobody is in the place. It's so weird. It's so unusual. But
I wonder.
I don't know if that has something to do with Thai nationalism or not, you know. But people don't eat the Big Mac as much, I should say, in Thailand, apparently.
I do remember the show Matlock. Mike says, "Do you remember Matlock? It's coming back to TV."
That was Andy Griffith, right?
But I think now it's going to be supposedly his daughter or granddaughter. Is that right? Isn't that right, Mike? It's going to be his daughter or granddaughter. And yeah, heck, you remember the show Scrubs? They were talking about having Scrubs come back on too. And one of the stations is having a show that's similar to Scrubs. I can't remember the name of it. I just seen it advertised. It's not going to be Scrubs. It's not even the same characters. But it's going to be similar to what Scrubs was. A bunch of doctors and stuff and nurses. And it looks like it's going to be a comedy drama. At least that's what Scrubs was. This may be just more of a comedy. So it's Kathy Bates is going to play it? Okay. No, Tim, you know he's not talking about Jerry Springer. He's talking about Jerry I call South Texas home. Well, Jerry's
Where's
probably
Jerry?
busy.
Is Jerry here?
No, he's not. I haven't seen him.
Where's the chicken?
Yeah. But yeah, he's no, he's not here today. He's probably busy. It's getting close to his bedtime now, so he was probably busy earlier. You know, Jerry, he goes like to go to bed early. And so, like I said, he goes to bed around 9 o'clock, our time. His time would be about 8. Because he likes to go to bed early and get up early. And so, yeah, I couldn't go to bed that early. I mean, even though I have to get up at 4, I still can't get to bed by 8 o'clock. I just can't do it.
Hey, what's going on there in the States, you know, with the economy? You know, here in Thailand, I just was reading a news article saying that they're going to be doing 3 months worth of stimulus by transferring 10,000 baht per month. I think it's per month to Thai people's they're calling it the Thai digital wallet. Are they doing stimulus again in the States?
Not that I.
Huh.
So
it would be a good deal to do right before the election, wouldn't it, Larry? Be a good thing to
that's what if they do it, that's why they would do it. Dan, you know that. That's why they would do it.
Yeah, it's so weird that Thailand is doing it. I didn't think the economy was in terrible shape. They're saying they're going to start throwing money at things.
Prices are going up on everything, according to Edward Beck, and that's true. It is.
Yeah, but here they're talking about the increased cost of living and the price of rice and the rent is going up too high.
Yeah.
But you would think the States would be the first on that gig, giving money away again. You know?
The thing is, though, I don't know if he could get it through again, but because with the way things are right now, I think that would be looked at as, like you said, trying to buy votes. Plus, with the debt we're already in, I think it would also affect the inflation rate, which they really can't afford because inflation's killing them right now. So if that caused
Right.
inflation to go up more, it would be if I was going to do it to get votes, I would do it in October or November. I would not do it before. I would not announce it before that because
Yeah,
that
I
way
think
you've
you're
got
right
time to
about
get
that.
you got the money to get out before the inflation goes up. So you get the boost and not the backlash until after an election. See what I'm saying?
Hey, Retro. I didn't know Retro was in the house. I just saw
Yeah,
Retro here.
yeah. He was here. He's visiting his grandmother, and I believe he said Maine.
Ah, very
And
nice.
he says she's doing well. He was in earlier
Every
before
man
you
is
got here.
here.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
every man. Did you see every man? Weren't you the one talking about losing friends over talking about politics? I saw every man was really teary-eyed almost talking about every election cycle. He seems to lose friends, or he was implying it. I don't think he actually said the word, but he was saying he's lost a lot of friends lately. And I don't think friendships should be destroyed over having discussions about politics. I'm just not in that camp.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it just like I said, right now it would not be a smart thing to do to give out money for just because, like I said, now if you wait till later, it might be smart. All right, Retro, you take care, man. Thanks for dropping in.
Thanks for the hello to you, and have a great rest of your weekend and or week, Retro.
Yeah, the rest of the weekend. I mean, we still got tonight and tomorrow. So he says he's got a last minute stream to do before bed. I hope he has a good stream. But we've been going for almost an hour, but not quite. But yeah, it just like I said, I really don't. I really don't like my choices in this election. I really don't. But what are you going to do if you vote for anybody else? Uh, of course, in New York, it might be a little different. I could vote for somebody else because if I voted for Trump, it's a wasted vote.
There was a month or two ago I actually thought New York was going to be in play.
It still may be. I just don't know. Hey, Dance,
The
how you
polls
doing?
the polls are showing that it's a done deal pretty much.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's too. What it is right now. There's a bump. She just got her Victor Vice President. She's got the convention coming up. They hadn't even had a debate yet. I'm not saying it won't be a done deal. I'm just saying it's a little too early to say it's a done deal.
Yeah,
Yes.
my friend was pointing out that I mean the way that the the way that the press is painting each one of them, they're both presenting them as being goofy or weird. I mean, it's I don't think it's right that they should do that. I really don't. I mean, I just don't think it's right. You shouldn't paint each candidate, whether you're CNN or the Fox network, as being goofy.
Well,
It's
have you
just not
ever?
fair to the American people.
Hey, I'd rather vote for a convicted felon than an idiot. But no, it just. Have you ever listened to her talk when she's talking off the
Yeah,
cuff?
yeah, she
She isn't.
sounds like
She
Suzanne
sounds
Summers
goofy.
from Three's Company.
Yeah, a little goofy, a little
You remember
dumb
that
blonde.
character, Suzanne Summers?
Oh yeah,
She played on Three's Company with
she's a
John
dumb
Ritter.
blonde. Yeah. Now, do you remember? Do you remember the first episode of the Three's Company?
Uh, Gosh, if you remind me, I could recall it,
All
I
right.
think.
They had a party. The next morning, they
Yeah.
found John Ritter asleep in the bathtub. He was almost. So he slept in the bathtub, and they decided. I can't remember. I think he did some cooking for him. So they decided to have him move in as a roommate, and he had to pretend to be gay because Feller, I can't remember the guy's first name, Norman Feller, I believe was his name. The landlord did not like it that a man living with two women. So by acting gay, it was okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all coming back now. Yep.
And then later on, they added the character Larry, and then Norman Feller, who played whatever the guy's name was. He supposedly.
Oh, wasn't there a Mr. who played the part of Mr. Farley?
Well, like
Was
I
that
said,
Don
Norman
Knotts?
Feller. Don Knotts played his brother. I want to say it was Norman Feller that played the first guy. And then him and his wife left the show, and Don Knotts came in and took over. Towards the end of the show, just like that. I can't think of her. Not Christy. What was her name? Christy's cousin that took Suzanne Summers' place.
Oh yeah, what was her name?
I can't remember.
She's still around. The others are gone.
Yeah. Well, she was supposedly a nurse. He says, every man says he met Suzanne Summer on his third cruise. She's a good friend of mine. And he was the set director. And
she was a good friend of yours, right? She passed away, didn't she?
Joyce DeWitt was
Joyce DeWitt, yeah.
Joyce DeWitt was Jan. She was on the whole time. We're talking about the girl that replaced Suzanne Summer.
Right. And that was over. I think, if I can recall, the gossip papers. That was a dispute over pay, right?
Could be, or the way her character
because she wasn't getting paid as much as John Ritter, and she really was an integral part of the success of that show, I believe. But
how you doing?
You know what the thing I remember about Suzanne Summers the most was not about her acting career. It was about her advocacy and the book that she wrote.
Whoa, hang on, Dan. I accidentally took you from the stage. The book she wrote about what?
About weight loss and how if you eat the sugars.
Yeah. And her Thigh Master?
And the Thigh Master, exactly.
Now, a show that she was in that only appeared for a few, maybe seconds or minutes in the whole show?
What was that? I don't recall.
American Graffiti. She was a girl in the Corvette. If you remember American Graffiti, Richard Dreyfuss carrier. Richard Dreyfuss carrier was chasing.
Was that a 57 T-Bird?
Either T-Bird or Corvette. I can't remember which.
Yeah, and you know that's amazing, But I think her claim to fame was the Playboy centerfold. Did she ever do a centerfold, or she did a fold out in Playboy or something like that?
Probably.
Am I thinking of somebody else, guys? Am I thinking of somebody else?
You, like I said, you could be correct. I don't remember. But now, who else played in American Graffiti that became a famous actor?
Well, I think Richard Dreyfuss was in there.
Yeah, but he was one of the main characters.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them that was in that show that became famous actors. Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah, Harrison Ford, yeah.
And Cindy Williams, who played on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They were in there, yeah.
Because Cindy Williams played Ron Howard's girlfriend, and Harrison Ford played the guy that wanted to race. What's his name? Paul. He's the one that at the end they were telling how he got killed by a drunk driver. The one kind of like Fonzie's character would have been based on. But Harrison Ford wanted to drag race.
Everyman, are you still hanging around? Did Suzanne Summers buy any art from you? I'm just curious. Well, you were on that cruise. You were the art director, right? They call him the art director, but more like a used car salesman.
He said he was a set director.
I do apologize, but he was the art director on the cruise line, right? He would have to do the auctions and try and sell art to get his commissions. So I don't know. Maybe he was that good of a salesperson. He was able to sell that junk art to Suzanne Summers. Joyce DeWitt. I'm behind in the chat now. Now what's wrong with this thing? What's wrong with Dan today? Let's see. Oh, there, we're good.
He's low tech.
Her Thigh Master is still available, Mike said.
Yeah. I'm saying, Dan, what's wrong with you is you're low tech.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm very low. Very low. How low can you go?
Can't go lower than me. I'm no tech.
Yeah, no tech is pretty low.
Yeah.
So you need to start a channel, Low Tech Larry. That has a nice ring to it. Low Tech Larry. And you know what you could get with retro and start a new channel? Yeah, you could show the evolution of electronics over the years. Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be into it, but I think retro would be. I think retro would enjoy that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Start off by talking about the original Pong machine.
Oh, I played the original where it was just a table and you sat there and you try to go back and forth. One guy on the other side keep hitting it back and forth.
It was fascinating. It was hypnotizing, you know?
No, it wasn't to me. You know why I sat at that table?
Yeah.
In the club on 32nd Street, which is a naval base in San Diego, sometimes they'd be so busy, you'd have to play the game to be sitting there because you couldn't just sit there and drink. Because somebody else would come over and say, "Hey, you're playing? We want to play the game." So you'd have to get up and let them play. So if you sit down there, you sit there and play the game and drink. One of the reasons I ever played that game, the place to have a place to sit. But yeah, it wasn't bad, but it was just like because you had to play the whole time or give up your seat, it was a little bit of a pain, you know. So,
Beck, thank you so much for the compliment.
I don't know if that looks like a New York cabbie's hat or not.
Mike, you know, I remember those phones. I used one. A friend of mine was trying to sell me one. He was a dealer. And he let me borrow his Motorola. And here I was cruising down the highway in the Bay Area, and I cut a $15,000 or $18,000 deal. Now I'm starting to sound like every man. I do apologize. Well, on my mobile phone, I love the thing. He said, "Hey, Dan, how'd you do on the mobile phone?" I made money. I told him, his name was Bill. I made money driving down Highway 80, coming over the Carquinez Bridge, for crying out loud. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it was very, very expensive.
But do you remember how they used to sell the fake antennas for the car phones?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was a big business. I could never understand. You know, you're trying to impress somebody. As soon as they get in your car, they know you don't have one. So where's the, you know, what are you doing? You were wasting your money.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the bag phone.
Yeah.
The Beck is reminding us what it was called, the bag phone.
Yeah.
And it was cool. If you had one of them, you were cool. You were like, that was the whole image thing, you know?
That's what I said.
You were making money.
That's like the fake antenna. It was just an image thing. But if anybody ever got in your car, they know you were faking it. So, you know.
I remember that.
I just couldn't see it, but people did it all the time back then.
Yeah, I think I may have done it. You know, what's so funny is I had a little green. I don't know if you remember this car, right? It was a Fiat tried to come into the U.S. market, and they made these little box cars. I think there was like a 128.
I had a friend that had a Fiat.
I went out and bought one. I bought a 128, and it had high RPMs, and so these things didn't last very long. They were high RPM. I remember putting in a fake antenna up there on the roof. People would honk at me.
Uh,
They thought it was the funniest thing. It was frog green. That's the color. Remember, they were bright colors like
oh yeah,
yellow, frog green. Yeah,
I had a
that whole
60.
thing.
I had a '68 Chevelle Super Sport yellow black top. It was convertible, black top with black
Oh,
leather seats. I was out in San Diego, California. I was 21, and that's when I
oh, damn.
learned that's when I learned you don't leave the top down in this that car because you
Oh,
were
don't leave the
boogieing.
top down.
Not when you're not in the car. We
Yeah.
went to Mission Beach, and I had the top down. I didn't put it up. We got out of the car. I was there with my girlfriend, a friend, and his girlfriend. We got out, was running around for a little while, and went back and got in the seat. And man, I burned my backside. Oh my God, that was hot. That leather seat.
Hey, Larry. Do you know those condos that line the Baywalk at Mission Beach? Right. You know those condos that are there. I
They
was just
weren't there. They weren't there in the
They weren't
'70s.
there at the time.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. I mean, there are a
Uh,
lot of people that hang out there. I was walking
yeah,
by one day and I saw he's deceased now, but the walrus guy looked like a walrus. What's his name? I can't remember his name. He's a big guy,
yeah,
and he was a character actor, but I
yeah.
can't remember his name. But he said he said hello once I recognized him. Once he spotted that look, he was like, "Hi, it's okay, I'm just a regular guy." And I can't
Hey, Emily,
remember. Can't,
Emily,
yeah, I can't remember his name now.
I know who you're talking about.
Is there a guy named Wilfred Brimley or something like that?
Yes, there is.
That was
Uh,
him. He looks like a big walrus. You
yeah,
know,
he's a big guy,
he's a
but
big guy. Yeah,
he
yeah.
started acting.
And
He started acting late in life.
oh yeah, that's right. He was a hell of a nice guy. He talked to me for a few moments, shook my hand.
Madeline, how
Very
you
nice
doing?
guy.
We got Emmeline and Madeline just joined in. Like I said, the raid's still going on.
Emmeline is here.
The raid's going on
Emmeline is here.
from Elvie.
Manolin is here. Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. Hey, it's always good to have people come in, especially good people.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, hey, while they're in the house, I just wanted to mention them on my live stream. So I finally figured out what was clogging up my Gcache.
What's
That
that?
is that I had to turn off. I suspected this was causing a problem. So I have a roaming plan, and I suspected the roaming plan was messing up my location, And
Yeah.
so I disabled or paused the roaming plan and then went Wi-Fi, and then my Gcache came back to life.
Oh, good.
So I could use it if I have Wi-Fi access and can't use it on the phone. So there you go. That's what was causing that problem.
Okay.
So I had to send the money over to, I had to
I
send
know
the
you sent
winnings
to
over
Anime.
to
You
Anime.
said,
Yeah, and she took
yeah.
care of it. She's so gracious. She's so gracious. But we worked for an hour at least trying to figure out the time schedule thing. And for some reason, it would show up right here in Thailand, but it would not schedule right in the Philippines. We have no idea why that was happening.
Well, like you said, it's probably the Roman having
Yeah.
the Roman on, Roman dating. But
Oh shoot, Larry, that's it. It was I didn't even think about it until you just mentioned it. It should have been obvious to me. It just isn't. It
well,
just wasn't obvious.
you said something about it in your live stream that you was wondering if that affected it.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, that clears that up. So of course it had to have been the roaming. So when I schedule it next time, I'll cut the roaming off. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were
I'll use
talking about.
Wi-Fi.
Well, you were talking about you were afraid that it was showing that you were in Thailand and wouldn't let you do
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
because it's set up for the Philippines. Yeah, you mentioned that in your live stream. Isn't it a
Oh,
good
I
thing I was?
did. Okay.
Isn't it a good thing I was awake?
I just
Your
share
chat?
thoughts as they come to me, and oftentimes I don't remember what I said.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I happened to
Yeah.
I got up just to watch your live stream, and then I went back to bed. I set my alarm for 5:30 just so I can be up to see your live stream. Girly, how you doing,
Oh,
girly?
wait, a trivia question. Where was a place in the Philippines where the Philippine flag was unfurled? Was it Bataan? I'm just guessing. Was it Bataan, Subic Bay, or something like that? Ah.
Oh, by the way, girly saying hi, Dan.
Oh, hi, Girly Santa. How are you? Big
But
supporter of the channel. Big
I hate to
supporter.
say this, Dan, but I have no clue.
Was it Bataan or Subic? Am I allowed to guess, Sir Mike? Yeah. That was a strange experience being on Subic. That was very, very.
And
It was a
Mike says
very
no, Dan.
no. Okay.
How about
Uh,
Tacloban? Cavite.
Tacloban. We were talking. Was I talking about the memorial in Tacloban, the
Yeah,
MacArthur Memorial, and how?
you showed you had a video where you showed the memorial
Well,
where
you know what? The memorial is falling apart, you guys,
uh,
and it's a damn shame.
you're talking
They
about
aren't
the
taking care
MacArthur.
of it the way it should be taken care of, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
Mike said it was in Cavite.
You said where? Cavite?
Cavite, yeah.
Wow. I wonder if there's a memorial in Cavite that you can go and see. Because one of the next stops when we get back to the area is going to be to Cavite. So if there's a memorial, I'm on it.
The flag first brought back by MacArthur, Edward Beck says. Now, as you can see the flag.
Yeah.
Now, in time of war, what's the difference between this flag and the time of war flag? Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Goes
know?
upside down.
Yep, the red's on top.
Yeah. Upside down at a time of war.
Because the gold part looks exactly the same either way you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And Rebecca just said you flip it. Yeah. It's the only flag in the world that I know of. That's how you can tell whether or not they're at war, which I think is pretty neat. I mean, you flip the U.S. flag up down. That you can do that during time of war, but that just means
Do you
you're
think,
under distress, not that you're in war.
Larry, let me get your opinion on this. Do you think that the U.S. should throw money at that so that they could take care of the MacArthur exhibit?
I don't see any harm in it. I don't think they should be
I
the only
mean,
one paying for it, but I can see
I
them.
mean yeah,
I can
the
see them
foundation.
helping support it. Yeah,
The
or maybe
fountains don't work, and the fountains don't work anymore, or they do, but they don't light it up all the time. They're. It's just sad. It's just sad. It needs to be maintained and cleaned up.
hey, crazy kid, how you doing, man? I'll be honest with you. If I was going to live in Leyte, the two places I would think about would be Ormoc or Tacloban. They're larger cities. They have good hospitals
You know
comparatively
what?
speaking
I
to
would
some of the
take
others.
honestly. I would take. I know I'm closer to Ormoc, but I would take Tacloban over Ormoc. Now that I've had the experience of visiting there, and you know what? One big reason why is
Why is
because
that?
they have the immigration office right there. It's easily accessible, and you could walk in and walk out and take care of your business in no time. And they're nice people.
Yeah. One of the things I'd want to find out which side gets hit most by storms.
They have everything you need there.
I think both places would, but like I said, which side gets hit the most by storms?
Oh, you know what? Ormoc, I think, is smaller than Tacloban, or it seems that way to me.
Yeah. I don't mind smaller as long as they got everything I need. All right.
Plus, check this out. Another advantage, you can drive from Tacloban to Samar, And then from Samar, you can hop over to the next island. So you know all those bridges that they're building, they're trying to connect all of them islands. All of Visayas is going to be connected to each other. So that would be another reason why you'd want to be there.
And Edward, you're right. It is a sign of distress when you flip the American flag. It does not mean war. There are some people who, I think it was when Trump won the election, that turned their flags upside down because they did not like it. And there's some people that did it with Joe Biden. So both sides have done that because they didn't like who won the election. But yeah, if you attack, let's say you're approaching a military base in war, if their flag is upside down, that lets you know to approach cautiously because they're under duress, which usually means they're under siege. So be careful coming in, and that's why that flag. That's why they do that, is to let people know, hey, look, be careful. We're under duress here, and be careful coming in. What
the raid going on at LV?
Yeah,
Maris?
Elvis raid. Yeah,
Elvis
Maris
raid.
is in. Oh yeah. Well, most of the last few that came in, like Pamela and them, they were all raiding from LV, which we greatly appreciate. So I greatly appreciate.
So Mike, I think that's the reason why MacArthur was he prevented from running for president? Is that what happened? What's the rest of the story there, Mike? My history is it's fading. It's fading in my head fast. But wasn't MacArthur? Wasn't he considering running for president, and they shut that down? What happened there? Yeah,
Remember why he didn't run? I don't know.
He didn't run. That's because he
Eisenhower ran, but I don't know why MacArthur didn't.
MacArthur didn't.
No,
I think MacArthur was given the what force. I think MacArthur was given the what force.
But he was also sent to, wasn't he the one before Westmoreland that went to Korea? Wasn't he in charge when they sent him to Korea to get rid of him, basically?
Oh, here's Crazy Kid making an important point, I think.
Yeah, you can't tell with their flag. It looks exactly the same no matter how you put it. Like I said, that's the nice thing about the Filipino flag. It's the only one I know of that you can turn it upside down and you know whether whichever way it's flying, you can tell whether they're at war or not. The American flag, you can tell whether or not they're under distress. But that's the only thing you can tell. Like I said, some people have flown it because they didn't like the outcome of an election on both sides. I think it's stupid, but, I've had people say, Trump's not my president. Well, I didn't vote for Joe Biden, but he was still my president. I may not like his policies, but he was my president. I believe in a duly elected system.
Mike, I want to comment on Mike's. Mike, perhaps that's true, but, sometimes it's right place, right time, and everything falls into place. You get a memorial in Tacloban. What can I say, I'm sure if MacArthur were here, MacArthur would be very, very surprised at his place in history. I really do think so.
You talk about the right place, right time, and wrong place, wrong time. How about George C. Patton? I mean, he got in trouble because of slapping a soldier. And then, he was put on death duty because of it. Back then, it was called shell shock, I think. And he slapped the soldier because he just didn't like the fact the kid was doing shell shock, and so he was sent. I want to say stateside death duty, and then somehow they got out of that because they sent him back to the war, and then look what he did. I mean, and then. He was in Germany and got killed after the end of the war because of a runaway Jeep or something.
Oh look, we got CBGB.
Yeah.
Something we have to deal with a lot of Mike, Ed, Beck. we got to we have to deal with a lot of revisionist history in the history books here in the States. You know, it actually drives me pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They write it the way that they see it, you know, and a
Well,
lot of it isn't factual.
remember, the history is written by the victors, right or wrong. That's the way it's
Yeah.
written. So if you win,
I mean, how much history is written on the occupation? I mean, the detailed information of the occupation. I mean, come on, cut me a break, you guys.
oh, what about the encampments here in the United States?
Yeah, who liberated who? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you look at the encampments of the Japanese, how they were mistreated.
Yeah, so it's a
Here in
horrible part
America.
of U.S. history. It's horrible.
Yeah. There's a lot of horrible things in the past. Now, and that's the truth. I mean, but you look at right now, everybody's talking about how terrible the Indians were treated. And remember, now I'm part Native American, but they weren't friendly with each other before we got here. I'm not saying what we did was right. It wasn't. That's not what I'm saying.
I think Beck
But
is bringing up an excellent point here. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Beck is bringing up the most important.
Do you know why
the most important point of the stream so far?
But do you know why they're called slaves? So many Slovaks were enslaved by the Muslims and I think the black in Africa, that the word Slovak became slaves. Just like they were slaves, and that's how they used the name Slovak slaves.
Well, crazy kid, in the States, you'll get fired if you present a historical fact in certain ways. They'll fire you. For example, I had a teacher who lost her job because of her telling the truth about who Helen Keller really was. She, instead of saying she was instead of presenting it as though that she was deaf, dumb, and blind, and overcame her challenges, she told the actual history of Helen Keller, and then she ended up disappearing.
Now, was Helen Keller a racist?
She was a communist.
Okay, I was thinking there was something.
She was head of the Communist Party at one time, if I'm not mistaken, the American or U.S. Communist Party.
Yeah.
She was a socialist.
Yeah. Now, do you know the history of the Planned Parenthood?
Oh my gosh! Of course, because I'm in the social services business. It's terrible.
But
the whole thing is horrible.
You don't hear that from the Democrats.
No, you're right.
I mean, it was founded by a racist who wanted to stop black people and sterilize the women, or probably the men, but the women especially, when they came in, give them abortion, sterilize them so they can have kids.
Listen, they did it in the state of California. They did it in California. They did it in Sacramento. Yeah. I mean, they actually had caseworkers that were assigned to take care of that business.
Yeah. But now, do you remember the Tuskegee experiment?
Yes,
not
absolutely.
The Tuskegee Airmen, the Tuskegee experiment. They got all these black guys infected with, I think it was syphilis, and left them untreated to see what would happen.
I mean, we have terrible history,
Oh yeah, we do. We do.
If you guys think that they wouldn't spray something over the top of your head in the middle of the day, think twice about it.
Well, Agent Orange.
That's what. Listen, if we could think it, we can make it.
Yeah. But Agent Orange was something they would spray over the forest to kill the forest and the growth. But sometimes there'd be Americans there, and they still sprayed it. Oh, it won't hurt. It won't hurt human beings. It won't hurt living things. It's just meant to kill the plants.
Yeah, or Americans are immune to it. We made it so they were Mike, genetically predisposed.
Mike, you're incorrect. The Irish slaves could not gain their freedom. were not the slaves. Now you had indentured servants, which is a different thing. There were more Caucasian slaves than black slaves. And North America had fewer slaves than South America. And I'm talking about United States and even Canada, but we had fewer slaves than Jamaica and South America. And we were the second country to outlaw slavery, along with the English, and we're the ones that shut down the shipping of the slaves from Africa. And they try to make you think that the white man went into the middle of the jungle, captured the black man, and took him out and sold him as slaves. No, they didn't. It was blacks catching blacks and selling them as slaves on the coast. The white man didn't go into the country and do it. No, the white man go into the country, he'd be killed. And the blacks enslaved the people from their own tribes, not their own tribes, but the neighboring tribes. And they would either keep them themselves or sell them, and more likely they sold them for money to the slave traders of all the various countries that did it. And so,
I mean, but don't, getting back to the Irish thing, they got even, didn't they, back in the end? I mean, just look at the history of the Orangemen and that whole thing in New York City, and the rise of Irish they took the jobs that nobody wanted. And a couple of those jobs were police officer and firemen. Yeah. The most highly paid positions in the entire United States. And that continues to this day, The Irish helped their own obtain those jobs in New York City, example.
Now, did you know the Irish was against freeing the black slaves? Not because they were prejudiced. Not because they were prejudiced. It was economical. Remember, the Irish were getting the lowest paid and the worst jobs. They were afraid if you freed them, not all blacks, but they were afraid if they freed all the blacks, they would lose the jobs they were working. Because they used to have signs, no Irishman on property. An Irishman couldn't go into a bar in some places. He was treated just as bad as the blacks were. But he was afraid the freed blacks from slavery be willing to work for less money, and they would be out of work. But once they went to war, well, the Irish fought to help free them. But they weren't for it before the war started. A lot of people don't know that either. But they were afraid of losing their jobs to free blacks. Because like I said, they were treated very poorly at that time.
And you think it wouldn't have happened, based on their own experience.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was just they were afraid of losing what they had nothing. They were considered the lowest form of life in the North. There were signs, no Irish allowed. Irish stay off the grass. They couldn't go in certain bars. So I mean, they were being mistreated because they were Irish. So they were afraid that if the blacks were freed, they would lose their jobs to them, and it wouldn't help them at all. They thought they would just lose out. So it wasn't like they wanted to keep the blacks slaves. They just didn't want to lose their position to another form, and then now they can't work. So it was strictly economics. There was nothing else. But yeah, that's part of the history. But yeah, everybody that's come over here at one time or another, that includes the Germans when they came, were looked down upon at one time or another. And that's why they congregated in one area together. Because it was like Germantown and St. Louis had a lot of Germans in certain areas.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the Underground Railroad also went through in the Midwest. It would go through Indiana, and that's really surprising to me because I know there's a lot of races in my home state. Now, there's one area was known for the Klan, but there was areas where I lived where they were suspected being Underground Railroad hideouts for them. Which
Hey, wouldn't it be cool, Larry, if I accidentally fell over the balcony on your live stream?
no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. No, it would not be cool.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
What a
gorgeous.
way to go.
Yeah. Well, that's a gorgeous view, but you're not looking at it. I mean, actually
I can
looking
see
at it. You're looking. Yeah, you
I'm
can see
looking at it in the rear view mirror.
Yeah, but that would not be cool, man. I'd have nightmares.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not as nice as you think because people like to party till all hours of the night.
Well, that's like I said. For me, I don't want to live in the party area. I don't want to be able to hear the noise from it. I want to be far enough away from it.
Hey, check this out. Check this out. This is a condominium project that the guy ran out of money before he finished it. It only has something like 1 or 2 tenants in it.
That'd be wild. All that
That's
space.
wild, huh?
Yeah, that'd be wild. All that space and only 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, and you could buy a unit and then you're responsible for finishing the improvements. You could buy 3 if you want to, hook them all up together.
Harriet Tubman was a badass, but I actually preferred Frederick Douglass. But that's maybe that's because I lived in Rochester area, so I know a little more about him.
All right, that's about a wrap for us because Man Minnie's giving me the look like we need to head out for breakfast. So
yeah,
I had a lot of fun visiting.
I'm glad you came up.
All right, thank you.
It's just a little after 8:30 there, so yeah, it's getting close time for breakfast. And Everbex is that it's called an envelope condo, Dan.
Yeah. Listen, Man Minnie wants to say hello and goodbye.
Hey.
Hi guys.
Hi, Man Minnie. How you doing?
How are you?
Oh, I'm
Doing
trying
good.
to enjoy myself. I'm surprised. Like my hat?
She's
Nice
wearing a
hat.
Philippines hat.
Oh, the Philippines hat.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
I was at the Filipino festival I went to here in Albany. I bought it.
Was it the Community Resolve Festival that they have once a year?
It's the one they have once a year. It's they call it the Filipino festival. It's only 1 day. I wish it was 2.
Wow, great.
I had ubi cake with flan topping for the first time in my life. Very very good. Oh, when I was home, they had a ubi shortcake. Oh, not shortcake. Cheesecake. My favorite coffee shop, the Little Bear Coffee place, and they had ubi cheesecake, and I had that. That was good.
Wow,
But
delicious. Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
But I prefer the ubi cake with flan topping myself, though. Both were good, but I like that one better. And I got the flan topping, like I said, at the Filipino Fest. I did have some. Lumpia. I had it's not lemonade. It's like lemonade, but it's starts with a C. It looks something like lemonade, calabasi or whatever. I had that, and that was real good. I had that for a drink, but yeah, I had a few things, but I would have loved to have been able to go 2 days in a row, but it was only 1 day. I did find
Only
out,
1 day.
yeah, but there is
They used
another
to have
one.
that once a year. Also in Sacramento, they have a huge Filipino population. We're gonna get out of your. We're gonna get out of your way. I almost said out of your hair.
You can't get in my hair, buddy. You can't get there.
Oh,
There's no hair
funny.
to get
Hey,
into.
take care. Take care, everybody.
Guys.
Bye bye.
Nice seeing you, man. Take care, Dan. Thanks for joining. We'll see y'all later. All right, now it's good having him up. And yeah, man, Minnie is looking good, same as usual. You're right, Tim. And Who are we going to call if you do? So anyway, I was glad he came up. We got to talk for a while. Is anybody else wants to come up? Come on up. We've been going for about an hour and a half, almost an hour and 40 minutes now. We'll keep going for a little bit, but I guess Ed's not coming back up. So we'll go for a little bit longer. I'm just glad everybody made it. And I hope everybody's having a good day. And like I said, now tomorrow I'm going to go for a little drive. A couple 2.5, something like that, one way to help a friend out and come back. Whether we take their car or my car, I don't know. I don't care. If we take their car, they'll drive. If we take mine, I'll drive. If it was fall, it would be a great short video. It's gorgeous scenery, especially in the fall with the colors. You're going to be seeing mountain area, and it would be a great short. I'll try to do that in the fall. On one weekend in the fall to get that video out. And we do have Big Mac Daddy coming back up. Let me get him up. Hey, Mac Daddy.
I'm back.
Welcome back. I noticed that.
Well,
But
I didn't want to step. Dan sometimes runs away, and I didn't want to step on his toes.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
I was trying to be polite to everybody.
Well, that's the way to do it. But so, like I said, no.
Yeah, there's condos that he mentioned. They call them envelope condos, and they sell them in Florida.
But why they call them envelope condos?
Because when you open the door, there's nothing but holes in the floor for your drains. You have no walls. You have nothing but concrete and openness. You have your exterior windows and nothing.
I don't know if I like those.
Well, they're very popular because $1 million condo only costs you $100,000.
Okay, then you fix it up the way you want.
And then you go to Home Depot, write your order list, and they drop off your toilet and your kitchen, and you bolt it all together a couple weeks yourself.
Yeah.
Do your own floor plan and layout. You're a little locked in on where your bathroom and kitchen will be located.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But you got to do your own wiring, and of course, you got to go through your own inspections.
Well, the wiring wouldn't be a problem. Not because I'm good at wiring, I'm not. But like I said, my cousin George, he was a construction electrician. So
It's all gotten easier than ever these days because it's all plug and play, even the plumbing.
yeah, I'm just saying that plumbing. My youngest sister's ex-husband was a plumber.
Well, if you're residential these days, you can work in plastic, and it's just like running clothesline. You don't have to fire up a torch or anything.
Yeah, I could probably do the plumbing as long as I don't have to get down under stuff. Do it as they put it in. But
yeah, that's part of the speed of it. You string it, and then you put the cabinets in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You do that first. I could probably do the plumbing that way, but the electrician, the electrical, I would want somebody that knows what they're doing. I don't care how easy it's supposed to be. Hey, look, if something burns down because of a bad wiring or something,
it can't. That can't happen. You don't understand, though. That can't happen. Because you string. I'll tell you why. You string it yourself, and then it's got to meet the certification of inspection.
Yeah.
The same thing with the plumbing. You get to string it, but then you got to make sure it's all done to code because it's got to pass final inspection.
Yeah.
They even have drywall inspection these days.
Yeah. I could live without the drywall.
Well, but they make sure that it's screwed and glued and nailed proper so it don't fall in on somebody.
Yeah, like I said, I can live with the brick walls or concrete walls.
But there's nothing there. I mean, there's no walls between, if you could live with that, your bathroom's going to be wide open.
No, I'd have to enclose that.
That's what I'm just saying. I mean, when I say all the walls, there's no walls.
What I'm saying, the only reason I'd have to enclose it, because if company came over, I think they would want privacy.
Well, there's also local ordinances and stuff like that you got to meet and follow.
But I'm just saying, but as far as the walls go, it depends on how much space you have. You just make it a studio. Use a large studio which has no walls.
Well, but do Do you want an enclosed kitchen? Do you want an enclosed dining room? Do you want an open dining room? A lot of people do this open floor plan today, so there's less walls to begin with.
Like I said, mine would be more open because I would want to do less work.
I ran into this in the last housing crisis in Florida. When I called about some condos, they were like, well, do you want an envelope condo or do you want a finished unit? We have both.
Yeah, like I said, I would be a condo or apartment dweller. I have no desire to have a house.
But
now, I'm single, so that that is my choice. Now, if I was married, it would have to be a joint decision.
This is 20 years ago, but they offered me an envelope condo for $10,000 or a finished unit for $150,000.
Yeah, I'd have took the 10.
Then you'd be on the phone with Home Depot.
Well, that might be, but I'm still saving $140,000.
Well, sure, but you're probably going to have to spend $75,000 to get your unit put together.
That still save how much? That's still saving almost $70,000.
And you can live in it the whole time yourself while you're building it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, and I would spend less than that because, like I said, I'd probably go with a completely open outside the bathroom, completely open.
I can't believe that Dan's not looking at those units and saying, give me a couple of them. He can make a lot of money just by having Filipinos come in and finish them.
Well, they may not be for sale because he said he ran out of money and quit building.
Well, yeah, but he's got residents already living there, which means he might be able to sell you envelope condos.
Yeah. But I just, like I said, right now, I got to watch that video by Miss P about the visas and see how much they've changed. But
from my understanding, they haven't changed the Filipino visas a lot, except they tightened up on all the overstay people.
Well, that's no problem. I have no fear about overstay.
You're not going to come in and overstay your visa when you got to go out to somewhere else for a day and come back now. You're going to do that, or when you do show up, they're going to kick you out for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that doesn't bother me because I will follow the rules.
And it's all about money.
Yeah.
You now can also apply for a longer visa to stay, but they're moving you on to permanent resident status sooner, and then they want more money.
Yeah.
It's all about the almighty dollar.
Well, actually, if you get a permanent resident, it's cheaper than just being visa.
Well, initially it costs more, but it eventually becomes cheaper. Correct.
Yeah, but it depends on how long. It depends on what kind of visa you go for too.
Yes.
If you go for the military visa, it's cheaper from the beginning. Almost from within 4 or 5 years, you save money. It's that quickly to save money. It really is.
Well, they're also wanting to cut down on the people who come in that, like myself, would do, open up a business in my girlfriend's name and I work there. I'm really the business owner and manager. It's hers in name only. They're trying to stop that because they lose a lot of money that way.
Well, they may be trying to stop that for not only the money they're losing, but also for the Filipino being out of a job.
Right. You're illegally employed. Yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, but I have no desire to do that either. I mean, I'm the kind of, I want to come in and I want to find a place that I'm comfortable at and live. Like I said, I'm going to start probably in Cebu. And if that's too big, then I'll go somewhere else. But like I said, I don't know exactly where. It could be Cavite, which is up close to Manila, but it's a small area. Or it could be Leyte in Ormoc or Tagloban. Or it could be Iloilo or Davao. There's quite a few different places that I've seen that look interesting. But I'm not looking to, like I said, I'm looking to go to Cebu first right now. Now, that may change later.
The way I'm looking at it, if I came in, I can't retire just yet. I don't have it.
Yeah.
But I figured out something that they need all over the Philippines because nobody has it.
What's that?
They need a lot more bakeries.
Well, they got bakeries.
They have them, but they never have enough of them.
Well, that could be. I don't know. I can't say. I've not been there long enough. I know
they may have enough of them, but it's a good business to be in because a lot of Filipinos don't have an oven to bake at home.
Yeah. So
they buy breads, cakes, and pastry all the time.
Yeah.
And I've only learned this through my fiance. When I send her money, she goes out and buys bread for her mother because they can't bake bread at home.
Oh, yeah. And you're right. A lot of them every day will go out and buy bread. I really like the pandesal, especially when it's warm. I don't know if you had pandesal or not.
No, I haven't.
I can get pandesal here in Albany, but I can't get it warm. So what I would do is I sprinkle a little water on it and put it in the microwave for like 15 seconds or so, which warms it up all the way through. You don't want it to get hard. And then you put butter on it. Oh, my God, it's good. But I can't eat a lot of bread, so I don't do it very often.
Well,
very good.
I learned about the nationalities and the bread thing kind of in Florida.
Yeah.
Cubans don't bake a lot of bread at home, and the bread that they bake is baked with lard. So it has a little distinct taste because of the lard. Yeah. And so all the grocery stores in Florida where I was in southern Florida, all had Italian bread and they had Cuban bread, and they were both excellent.
Oh, yeah. Italian bread's very good.
Well, so is Cuban bread, but
I've never had Cuban bread. So
it's lighter and fluffier, and it's made with lard instead of oil.
Yeah. But like I said, I can't say anything about the Cuban bread. I've never had it. I have had, like I said, Filipino pandesal, which is really good. I also have balsa, which is probably the same thing as chopal, which is a bread with meat inside or vegetables. And balsa is what the Chinese call it, or steam bun is what some people call it.
Yeah, I've seen them. I learned a lot about Filipinos and bread from a channel that used to be on called Crazy Monina, Life in the Philippines.
I don't remember.
Her boyfriend, John Norton, is since deceased. He was a Navy guy, and he was an electrician. And he used to buy bread for the neighbors all the time as like a present. And I never understood why he was buying so much bread as a present, what made it so desirable, if you would. But what made it so desirable was the people he was buying it for didn't have ovens.
Yeah.
Just a simple little thing.
And it saved them money because, money's tight for a lot of people.
Well, it was a nice gift because you know how food is in the Philippines for a lot of people, and bread is like a staple that they all have rice, but they don't all have bread.
Yeah. But like I said, I look forward to the fresh vegetables in the Philippines and the meat because it's more natural. Like I said, I buy organic meat as much as I can. No growth hormones and stuff like that.
We only have Cavendish bananas here, basically.
I got bananas in my living room right now for breakfast tomorrow and probably the next couple of days.
Yeah, but there's only like 7 or 8 kind of bananas that we really eat. And the Spanish take the plantains and they fry them. They do fried bananas.
Well, we get plantains here, but
we get little plantains too, the little tiny ones. But they have bananas
I get the bigger ones.
I've had
in my area.
Yeah, they have them too. I've had Filipino bananas that they're little tiny things, and they taste like apples. Yeah. And they're the most incredible banana you've ever eaten. But they don't ship well, so you never see them here that much in the States.
Now, was it you telling me about the golden watermelon?
Well, the golden watermelon's a big thing. Yes, I know a lot about them.
And I can't. Well, somebody, and one of the Filipino vloggers that I follow, I can't remember who. I haven't seen the video yet, but I've seen an advertisement for it. They're eating a yellow watermelon.
Do you know how you get a yellow watermelon?
No.
You remove the lycopene. Lycopene is what turns a tomato red.
Okay, but what I'm saying
lycopene is not good. Lycopene is not good for you.
Yeah.
So yellow watermelon is better for you than red watermelon. I got another watermelon.
I've not been able to find a yellow one.
They have book in your grocery stores. They all got them right now.
No, they don't, because I look at my grocery store every time I go.
Well, ask around. You can find them.
Yeah.
They may have them. They may not. But here's one for you that you've got to consider. Like the yellow watermelon, is of course less lycopene. Do you know what they use watermelon for oftentimes in Africa and other places?
No.
They grow watermelons and they grow big ones to purify the water.
Okay.
Because if you grow a 200-pound watermelon, you can get 5 gallons of watermelon juice out of one.
Yeah.
So they grow watermelons that are like 24 inches around and as long as a hay bale. Because if they don't, there's arsenic in the water, and arsenic, it can be deadly, or it builds up in your system. It's one of the chemicals you can't get rid of.
Yeah.
So if you grow watermelon and drink the watermelon juice as opposed to having water, it's healthy.
Well, that's a good thing to know.
Watermelon is like most melons, it's a desert fruit. They grow around the oasis of the desert. I got one for you. Did you know that red beets are a beachfront fruit?
No, I did not know that.
And so is celery.
Now, celery I like. Beets I can eat, but I'm not a big fan. But I do like celery.
Well, we call them red beets, and we actually renamed them. They used to be known as blood turnips.
Yeah.
The turnip is a beach fruit also that grow in the mangrove swamps.
But
yeah, I'm learning a lot about vegetables. Fruit is very good for you in most cases. A lot of vegetables just aren't good for you.
Depends on what ones you eat.
Anything in the cabbage family is good for you, but a lot of stuff has like eggplant's not really good for you. Tomatoes aren't really good for you.
Well, it depends on what problems you're having. They're not good for certain problems. I think tomatoes bad for arthritis.
I don't know about that so much, but that's why the Italians remove the seeds from them, and that's why you cook Italian tomato sauce for so long, is to break down the bad stuff that's in them. Like eating raw beans can actually make you very sick, or if the beans are undercooked.
Yeah. Like
pinto beans and kidney beans, there's what they call casters in them, and you got to cook the casters to neutralize them.
I've never ate raw beans, so I couldn't say.
I used to try to do it as a child on my grandmother's farm. She would say, "Don't do that; they're not good for you." And I was like, "Come on, I'm eating vegetables, Grandma," and she'd be like, "No," and then she never told me why. But years later, I learned why.
No. Well, like I said, I'm sorry, but I'm a city boy, and so was my mom.
Half the vegetables in the produce aisle are cabbage.
Yeah.
You ready? Brussels sprouts are cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. They're all forms of cabbage. You have all the bok choy, the red cabbage, the standard, golden cabbage, and the white cabbage. They're all,
I like cabbage. I can eat cabbage raw. Coleslaw, it's raw cabbage.
Oh, I love coleslaw. I make the best.
I like coleslaw.
I make my own at home all the time.
I do too.
I live here. I got a problem where I live here. None of the delis because I'm so far out of New York, I guess. None of the delis around me want to carry corned beef.
I don't eat. I can eat corned beef. I'm not a big fan of it.
But I want like a corned beef special or a turkey special or a Reuben, or they don't have any of that here. Can't even. I have a hard time getting. I can't get kosher rye bread with the little stamp on it.
No.
Can't get a bagel.
Oh, I can get bagels.
I mean, I can get them, but they're not the New York, hot bagel in the bag. And oh god,
I can get the New York bagel. We have bagel shop. We have shops that are just nothing but bagels, pretty much.
I can't get whitefish salad out here.
I don't know about that. Like I said, I'm not a seafood eater.
I can't get whitefish salad. It's hard to get any kind of decent quality seafood. I can't get live crabs or even crabs. I can't get just so much. It's just not here. I can't get red snappers to put on the grill.
Yeah. Well, like I said, in my area, you're going to have trouble getting some of that, but a lot of that you won't. We have Brugger's Bagels, which makes really good bagels. That's all they make. Bagel sandwiches and stuff like that.
I grew up in Philly.
Go ahead.
I'm used to going to the Jersey Shore all summer long.
What happened? Ed, what happened? I didn't take you down. Something happened. You worked at Jersey Shore all year, all summer long, and then all of a sudden you're gone. Well, anybody still out there? If you are, say hi. But my phone was going dead. One of them. All right, there he is.
I'm back.
What happened?
I bumped my cell phone.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't drop you. I bent down to grab something I dropped. I come back up and you're gone. I heard you say something about spending time down at the New Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah. Well, in Philly, we all go to the Jersey Shore all summer, and we always come home with the seafood.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, all the seafood stores are open. You always stop in and bring home a lobster for your mom, bag of clams.
Yeah.
Come home and have seafood on the barbecue in the afternoon.
I'm the kind who would throw a steak on the barbecue.
Oh, we do enough of that, too.
I worked in a steakhouse for about 1 year and 8 months when I was in high school. About the end of my sophomore year till the end of my senior year. Now, my senior year only went half a year. That's why it wasn't 2 years. And that was a Bonanza, if you remember Bonanza.
Oh, yeah.
The cafeteria style steakhouse. Whenever I worked, I had steak. And I worked 4 or 5 days a week. Sometimes one summer I had 1 day off the whole summer. That was
steak every day.
Every day but that 1 day. And that was the summer between my junior and senior year. And the only reason I got that day off, because they called me up and asked me to come into work. I refused to go in because I had plans with a friend. Going to go meet some chick. And so anyway, I took the day off. And that was the only day I had off that whole summer. So I had steak every day. And I never got tired of steak. I mean, I could eat steak every day. Now,
me too. Especially those good Bonanza steaks.
Yeah. Good night, Tim. You take care.
Perfection.
Tim's saying good night.
Good night, Tim.
Mac Daddy. But anyway, so like I said, I had sirloin. I had not the filet, the ribeye. We'd get a T-bone once in a while. That was either by mistake because we thought somebody ordered one and they didn't, or we put too many on, or one was overcooked and the person didn't want it overcooked. But I've ate steak everywhere from raw, and I do mean raw, not on the grill at all, to burnt, and I do mean burnt. And the best way to eat it is about medium rare, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, I've tried it every way there is. And but I love a good T-bone or a good New York strip's not bad either, but a porterhouse is really good.
My son wants to go back to the steakhouse first. He wants to go to Texas Roadhouse for a big slice of prime rib.
Yeah, they got good steak. I'm trying to remember that Texas Roadhouse has that butter. Isn't it a cinnamon butter?
The honey butter, honey and cinnamon in it.
Honey butter. Yeah, that's really good with the bread. I did Texas Roadhouse in a while, but
and I always sit in Willie's corner. Willie Nelson loves Texas Roadhouse, and every restaurant has Willie's corner with all Willie Nelson memorabilia.
Okay.
So I always request that table.
I don't know if that's got enough room for when we go. I usually go with the family, and we'll normally be about a dozen people.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. You need the big table.
We went to Olive Garden this last time. We only had, I think, 8 or 9 people. It was a small group. But a lot of times we have
Olive Garden better when Pillsbury had them.
Yeah.
Darden does a good job. They just aren't Pillsbury. That's all I can say.
Well, they got. I like their bread. They got good tasting bread.
Yeah, they don't make any of that. Olive Garden, if you ever been in the back of one, it's like a McDonald's with pasta.
Yeah. Well, I don't doubt it. They're just warmer. But whoever makes their bread is a very good bread.
They make their own. Right. They make the most excellent sauce and the most excellent Alfredo sauce. And then they just like kind of do everything backwards. Everything's pre-portioned backwards.
Yeah.
And they got excellent cost controls, and they produce a hell of a product in high production. Let me tell you.
Well, they got to do it at high production because all the bread and salad you can eat. So when you're ordering the other stuff, it's got to be cost efficient to help pay for what the bread and salad they give away.
They don't even cook. They don't cook chicken in the Olive Garden. All their chicken comes in pre-cooked.
Yeah.
Because of salmonella and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you see the listeria breakout that all the lunch meat counters are having?
No, I haven't. I don't watch too much news.
Boar's Head's probably got 20 states in the continental United States right now that people are sick. 3 or 4 people have died from listeria. That's it. You get listeria from like the drains in the floor when they're cleaning up. Yeah. If you spray a hose on the drain and it splashes on something, it can leave listeria bacteria behind.
Okay. I don't buy deli meat anymore. I haven't bought deli meat in a long time.
I finally said to hell with it when I seen this came up 2 weeks ago. Because before Boar's Head, it was somebody else was having it. I'm now I roast my own full roast, and then I have a deli slicer, a real one at home. Yeah. And like I'm slicing a pork loin tomorrow. Last week I did a whole top round of beef.
Well,
it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Like I said, I just don't. I used to buy ham every so often, or chicken breast as deli.
Yeah.
To make sandwiches to take to work, but I haven't done that in months. I mean months.
Well, we're not supposed to eat that as big guys, Larry. I gave it up another reason because it allows me to miss all the salt.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was just something that it was like, well, it's not supposed to be that good for you. So it's like, all right, I can give this up.
The more they process meat, the worse it is for you. That is true.
About the only thing I take in that's processed somewhat, and it is processed, is hot Italian sausage.
Well, here's something to think about. When I do away with all the sausage and all the processed meat and I make my own, lunch meat, I do away with all the extra gelatin, all the extra salt, all the sugar.
Yeah.
That's 3 things that I just take off the menu.
Well, like I said,
I don't miss it.
Like I said, I still do the Italian sausage, the hot Italian sausage, the big patties. I'll cook up 4 of those, and I'll take one in each day for work. That'll be my lunch. I'll either take in a couple eggs and have an egg sandwich for breakfast, or I take in a couple of bananas, usually the bananas. And I try to take them in a little more green because they got less sugar. The riper they get, the more sweet they are, more sugar they have. So the greener they are, the greener they are, less sugar. But I don't like a solid green, so I like a little green or mostly green.
Yeah, they're tastier that way anyhow.
Yeah. And I usually take, like I said, I got enough for breakfast tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, bananas right now. I may have to eat them quicker because I don't want them to turn too yellow. But then I'll buy a couple more and have them for the next couple of days. I've been eating bananas instead of eggs more here recently. I got the chicken I got is no hormones added. No antibiotics added to it or anything.
You got to be careful with that, though, because
how's that?
Purdue does it where they'll say like there's no growth hormones added and there's no antibiotics and this and that. They go to using natural antibiotics and natural hormones, and they don't add it necessarily. It's like Purdue. You know what makes Purdue chicken have such a yellow skin?
No,
they feed them marigold.
I don't. Yeah.
They feed them yellow marigold.
I buy boneless skinless.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's why, like it's part of where the color and everything comes to the meat and everything is what they're adding to it. That they get around it, but it's and they can technically call it organic, but it's naturally it's naturally organic though. They're adding natural antibiotics and things.
Yeah, but natural, I would rather have natural than artificial added. Because.
Oh, sure. You mean synthetic. It's not really artificial. Let's call it what it is. It's synthetic.
Yeah, I would rather have natural. Yeah. And,
like adding marigolds is not a bad thing. But like egg-laying chickens, they give them egg-laying chickens. They got them on methamphetamine, basically.
Yeah.
They feed them. They keep them busy for like 3 days at a time. They leave the lights on. They feed them like in their water. They put not antibiotics. They put like speed. They put Ambien on them, and they got them all zoomed up for 3 days, and then they give them a break. And
Singo, thanks for coming. Singo just said goodnight, Larry and Mac Daddy.
Take care. The way they do a lot of this stuff, though, is crazy.
But, but like I said, now they do that in the Philippines. They'll keep a light on and they keep feeding them. Now they don't feed them synthetic or artificial synthetic stuff, but that's to fatten them up quicker and they're more tender because they're younger, but yet they're big because of, like you said, you keep the light on, they don't sleep.
Well, they feed them. They feed them a lot of soybeans, in all the pig food and all the chicken feed. Because what they do is they take the seeds and like they have sunflower and safflower in it in there too. They crush all that stuff, heat it up and crush it for oil. And then they take the leftover mash and make animal feed out of it. But, and
I'm just saying what they do in the Philippines when they do that, they're usually getting ready to have a party, and they grow the chickens to a certain size, and then they use it for food for the party.
Well, a whole chicken is its whole life over if you're growing them for meat. Their whole life is over in less than 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Most of them are killed between 7 and 10 weeks.
Yeah. The way I'm talking about, I don't even think it takes that long. Like I said, they keep the light on, don't let them sleep, and just feed them. And
it does take some time to put some weight on them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think maybe 7 weeks at the most, probably.
7 weeks is a fryer chicken. 6 to 7 weeks, and 10 weeks is a roaster. That's the difference.
Yeah, all I'm saying is I don't remember how long it was. It was one of the vloggers I used to follow. They quit posting. It was Tito Tim. I believe it was Tito Tim that did that one. He was in Iloilo, but he was outside of Iloilo at the time, living in his wife's family's property. They built a small house there, 1 bedroom, but they'd built it, and he showed the building of it, and then they remodeled a little bit. They showed that, and so they had that place, and then they lived in the city for a while, Iloilo for a while, and kept that place. And then he quit vlogging, and he said he was going to quit when he quit. And they moved farther out than even where that was at. And him and his wife, they moved back to where this was her uncle and some cousins. They were living outside of Iloilo, where her parents was even farther out. And I think they moved out there. And now Tito Tim retired in his 50s because of disability. He had He had a head injury, which caused him to have severe headaches once in a while. And it was from a crash. I think it happened when he was in the Navy. And he worked for a while after that, but it just got too severe. And so he ended up retiring. He worked for I can't remember if it was a state or a county. I think it was state. So he got that retirement. He didn't get that until he was 55, but he retired before he was 55. And so he was doing okay. I mean, he wasn't great until he started getting his retirement from the one thing, and then got his Social Security later. And so he was in really, really good shape then. But at first he wasn't, but they were in decent enough shape that they had a good time.
My grandparents were in the poultry business, and they lost everything because they were giving them. I think I lost you.
No, you're still here. I hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. My grandparents were in the poultry business, and they were getting bad feed from one of their suppliers that had like mold in it or something. And it happened one time. A lot of people lost their chickens, and it was like pushed over, and they got around it somehow. But when it happened again, it wiped their business out. It took my grandfather like 10 years to sue them for his loss, and they finally got him another farm. But he never recovered in the poultry business.
Yeah.
My grandfather looked like Frank Purdue. He used to have a big truck that had our last name on the side of it and stuff, and was in the Lehigh Valley area, was major in the chicken business.
Okay.
And they wiped him out. My family's biggest thing used to be incubating eggs and hatching chickens. They were very well off from all that because, you get an egg for a nickel back then, and you hatch it, and you could sell the chick for $0.25.
Yeah. Talking about chickens, did you ever follow Bud Brown when he was in the Philippines?
Oh, yeah.
He got a brother that lived in Minden now somewhere. I can't remember where. But he had a farm, and he had chickens. And they had, hundreds of chickens, and they sold the eggs. But he had one heck of a set, and he videoed it and showed it on Bud Brown's channel. But it was one of Bud's brothers. I want to say Lance, but I could be wrong about the name. And him and his wife, they had a real nice place, and they had goats, and the main thing was chickens.
I bought my fiance chickens for the Philippines, but on the whole island, there's something in the soil that gives these chickens some kind of bird flu.
Yeah.
It eventually kills them, but it like messes their eyes up. Is when you know they have it. Their eyes like break out, and there's rash around their eye.
Yeah.
And you can inoculate your chickens, give them all a shot, but the Philippines, that's expensive. It don't always happen. And I bought my girlfriend like 30 chickens, and we never got anything from them because as soon as they reach egg laying age, they die.
Yeah.
So you can't really eat them for food. You wouldn't want to eat a diseased bird, and you never get your eggs from them. So we lost out on that.
Yeah. Now, you're still going over in October, aren't you?
I'm probably going to have to push that back a little bit.
Okay.
I haven't gotten my passport yet. That'll take me 4 months to get. And I'm looking at it with the holidays and everything. I'm probably going to go January.
Go after the holidays?
Go after the holidays in the middle of the winter.
Yeah, get away from winter. Get away from the snow.
Yes.
But now make sure when you go, flying there is not the expensive time.
Oh.
Because remember now, I want to say it's August or September. It's expensive. I want to say August. It's expensive to fly over there because you got all the students. And May as well, I think. You got all the students flying.
They're showing me really good rates right now.
Yeah, and but are they showing it for January?
For $200 more, they've now opened up Philadelphia.
Okay.
So I don't have to take my trip. It would cost me $300 to go to New York, so I can now fly out of Philly
for $100 less than what it would cost you to take yourself to New York.
Is what it comes out to on my end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I can take the train out of Johnstown into Philadelphia for $150.
Yeah.
Or I can fly into Dulles and then either go north or south down to Atlanta or back to Philly or up to New York, but I got to pay for that. And it's a little bit more expensive.
And it's a lot more convenient just to take it to Philly itself, take the train to Philly.
Or I can exit through Chicago and go out through Los Angeles. Yeah. But it's a longer way to go, and it'll cost a little more.
When I go, I'll probably go out of JFK or
LaGuardia.
What's the other? LaGuardia, one of those two. Now I may not. I may go back to Indiana and go out of Chicago, but that's still too far away for me to make that decision yet.
Well, it's always going to be cheaper to go out of New York.
Well, the thing is, though, my family's back in Indiana, so I can go back and visit the family one last time before I go over. That's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
But I may do that, then come back and fly out of. It all depends on how everything's going. And right now, when I leave, is going to be probably in March or February, because the reason for that is because my lease is through March. So if I don't, I can always leave in February and pay for February and just not worry about it. Or I can wait till March, but I'm not going to leave in December and have to pay for December, January, and February. I'm just not going to do it. So I'll probably go in like February or so. Like I said, I may decide to go home for Christmas, visit the family, come back, and wait till time to leave. But like I said, it's still 2 years or more away. So we'll make that decision later on. And so we just don't know.
Not only that, your landlord may allow you to go month to month in the end. Tell them I need a couple extra months. They'll be like, oh, okay.
Oh, no, they might give me a 3 month. But they might give me 1 month, but they're not going to say, well, let's just go month to month. If they do, they're going to charge me a lot more money.
Oh.
So
there's some places you can just go month to month and, you add a month on.
Yeah. But like I said, I can do that for a short period of time, but they're not going to let me do it all year. And hey, Danny, how you doing, man? Sorry, I haven't got to your last couple of videos. I was on vacation, just back, and I still got to get caught up with all my videos that I'm behind on. A lot of videos while I was on vacation. I was back in Indiana visiting the family, and is that Mayang Gubaya? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Danny, I'm sorry. But how you doing? I know you're sad to be back home. You're already missing your little lady in the Philippines. I understand that. Like I said, I got a couple more years before I can go over. I'll get all my bills paid off by the end of this year, before the end of this year, all but my car. Then I just got to start saving money to have the money to move over, to set myself up. And if anything goes wrong and I have to come back to the States, I have the money to come back. You got to have your plan A, plan B, and plan C. Plan A is to go to Subi and stay there, and hopefully that'll be the place I end up staying. Plan B is, if I don't like Subi because it's too big, look for another location to settle in. And plan C, if all else fails, come back home and set myself back up. That might even be plan D or plan E, because I really not want to do that. I may have to go to another country first.
Brian from Philly in the Philippines just moved to Saragao Island, and he's loving it.
Yeah. Saragao or not Sikihor?
No, he's in Saragao Island.
Okay. Yeah, Danny, I as long as my health holds up, I want to return to the Philippines. Now, I'm not going to have a house like you guys. Like I said, right now my plan is Cebu. Davao is one of the cities I would consider as a backup. But so is Iloilo, Ormoc, Tacloban. Those two are in Leyte, and somewhere outside of Manila. The things is, I want a good hospital close by, and I want affordable rent, and I want entertainment. Now, yeah, I would like to meet up with you and Jamie both. So after I get settled in, I'll have to make a trip to Davao at least, or you guys can come to wherever I'm at. But yeah, like I said, I want to go to Dumaguete. There's people over there I wouldn't mind meeting up with, or people that live on Negros anyway that I can meet up with. I don't know if you know who Sammy is. She lives on Negros. She goes to Dumaguete once in a while. Then there's Mike, Philippine retirement. He's in Dumaguete area. John and Maurice from Turquoise Sunrise. They're in Valencia. So, and then, like I said, Dan and Minnie, they're in Bye Bye, which is Leyte, but so I want to meet up with them. But they go to Cebu once in a while, so I may meet up with them there.
Where was Dan at today?
He's in Thailand. He's in Jamon Beach, or I can't remember exactly how to pronounce it, but it's outside of Pattaya. It's not far from Pattaya, however they pronounce that. But he's in Thailand right now.
He gets around.
Going to be there. Yeah. Well, Dan's done quite well for himself. Remember now, Dan's a retired civil service worker for many years. So he's got that retirement plus his Social Security. So he's doing pretty well. And Bad Minnie, their house in Bye Bye, she pretty much paid for and had it built with her money. And so.
Buy the house, I think I'd spend more time at it.
Well, they like traveling. And while you can do it and you got the money, do it. Because you don't know how long you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, I guess.
Well, and they do spend time at the house, but they like to travel too. I mean, they'll go home for a month or two and then take off again. Or sometimes I'll go to Cebu and stay there for a couple of months. And then you got Tim in Angeles, which is in Luzon, which I wouldn't mind going. I wouldn't mind seeing Tim. I'm not that crazy about Angeles itself. That's where they got the famous walking street. It's only about a block or two. I have no real desire to see it, but if I'm there, I'll probably go see it just because I'm there.
Brian and Lit just left Angeles City.
Yeah, I know Brian was there, but Mike, Philippine retirement, was just there. He just did a video. He was there visiting with somebody else, another guy named Mike, who's there with his wife. They really, they didn't go there for walking street. They're there as a husband and wife. Walking street's more for a single guy wanting a good time and doesn't want a serious relationship, if you know what I'm saying.
Ain't what it used to be from what they say.
No, but it's not as big now, but it's still there. Probably like Subic Bay. There's probably something similar in Subic Bay or Olongapo. That's where the Navy was at in Luzon. They're not real far apart. The thing about Angeles City and Subic Bay that gives them an advantage for a family or a single man who's trying to have find a serious relationship. The thing that the advantage there is the infrastructure. Their infrastructure is a lot better off than a lot of places because of the American military that helped build it up back in the 70s and 80s and 90s before they moved out. The infrastructure is in a lot better shape than a lot of other parts of the country. Now, Dan was just in Subic Bay in one of his last videos. They went over this one bridge. I won't tell you what we called the river, but they went over the river, takes you to the base, and it's got this canopy over the top. Now, when I was there, I don't remember a canopy when I was in Subic. So when you're walking across there, you just got wet if it was raining. Now, there would be people outside the base with umbrellas when it was raining, either to sell you an umbrella or you could pay somebody to walk you to the bar you're going to holding an umbrella over you. But there'd be kids in the river, especially when it wasn't raining, yelling up, "Hey, Joe," or whatever, wanting you to throw them a peso or two, and they didn't catch it, they'd dive into the water to get it. And I rarely did throw pesos, but once in a while I did, especially when this one kid was there. He had a hat or T-shirt, I want to say hat, that said Larry on it. And, my name being Larry, I thought I ought to help a fellow Larry out. So I'd throw him a peso or two once in a while when I saw him. But I didn't throw it to all of them because that could cost you a lot of money crossing that bridge because there'd be a lot of kids in that water. They'd be in a boat and they would, like I said, would dive out of it to get the money if they missed it. And some of the guys actually tossed it to where they'd have to dive in and get it. I thought that was not right, but they did it. I mean, I couldn't stop them. But I rarely wore a jacket when it was raining because I did once. And when I got to the bar, I was so soaked with sweat, not rain, but sweat from wearing a jacket, that it was just more comfortable to get wet from the rain and then dry off that way than get all muggy and sweaty and then go into the bar. So I wouldn't wear a jacket. Like I said, I did once or twice and that was it. Like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. It's just not that comfortable. I'd rather just get wet. And, of course, you had to protect your cigarettes. I was a smoker back then. So you had to protect them somehow. But a lot of times that was putting your sock down in your pant leg because it was a lot harder to get wet. Put it in a plastic bag or something. But I knew guys that had boots that had a pocket outside. So they had boots made. And the pocket, they could put the cigarettes and lighter in and would keep them dry no matter what the weather was like. And the boots were handmade for them. They went in, had their feet measured and everything. And you can get this done in the Philippines. And so they did that. I never did that. I probably should have, but I didn't.
You know what's actually the Philippines? They're having this problem with the fishing rights at the shoals in the China Sea there. And the Filipinos have fished there for generations.
Oh, yeah.
And the Chinese have so much invested in the Philippines infrastructure, they could cut them off at any time. You think the Philippines would kick China out, literally, and they don't.
Yeah. All I got to say, if I was the Philippine government and China starts giving us too much of a hard time, saying you got to pay us back, I'd just say, too bad you're out the money. Get the hell out of here. And I'm not going to say the word I was going to say.
Well, yeah, but the Chinese have owned all the transformers and generators and all the heavy wiring in the Philippines. The Philippines don't own their own infrastructure. They're literally leasing it from China, which I don't understand how that works.
No, like I said, just take it over.
We almost got the same problem here in America, except we own ours, but we buy it all from the Chinese.
Oh, yeah. Well, you look at all the rare minerals we use, it all come from China.
Well, the Chinese are mining these off the coast of America in the open ocean now. and we're not in on the treaty. We didn't want to sign in on it for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, we've done some stupid things. Let me tell you. Excuse me. Belching my lasagna. I had lasagna today. It was good though.
I send a lot of money to the Philippines these days.
Yeah.
That's part of what's slowing me up from going too. I sent $600 to the Philippines this month.
That's too much money. I'm sorry, Ed. That's too much money.
I had to take care of a lot of things. I chose to.
But yeah, I'm just saying though.
It is a lot of money. I mean,
there's families that live on less than that a month.
I got hit with everything at once. Kids back to school. She had an accident on her scooter and needed dental surgery.
Well, I remember that.
Her youngest son needed dental surgery. And it just like all hit me at once. But I told her, I said, I'm done for a while. Don't be calling Ed because Ed ain't got it.
Yeah.
And she understands.
Be careful, man. I said, be careful, man. I don't want you getting taken advantage of. I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying be careful.
You know what? One thing I understand and why I know she's not taking advantage of me. I get pictures of everything that she buys.
Yeah. And
she just sends them to me. I don't ask for them, but I can see that that she's buying groceries. She's buying the things that she needs. Yeah. I'm seeing basketball sneakers on her kids' feet that I know I paid for.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm just saying, be careful. Don't overextend yourself.
No, not at all. And I told her, I said,
like I said, they can get by on a whole lot less money than that. They can get by on a whole lot less money.
Well, they can. That's the most I've ever sent. Normally, I'd send about $150 to $200 a month.
Now, that's not too bad. That there's not bad. It's more than I would send, but then again, I'm not in your position. I'm not in a long distance relationship, and I don't want to get in one.
I got to tell you, it's one of the things I'm regretting about it.
Yeah. But well, for me, I don't know when I'm going. All right. I mean, I know it's going to be more than a year, probably more than 2. So I don't want to get involved in a relationship that I'm not going to meet up with them for that long. I'm not going to see them face to face. I don't think it's fair to them. I don't think it's fair to me. Also, then, I want to choose where I'm going to live. All right. And if you get in a long distance relationship, maybe you can't choose as well. Maybe you're kind of, I don't know, guilted towards living in a different area than what you would actually like.
Well,
I'm not saying that's the woman's fault, but I'm saying that can be a problem.
She lives in Onda.
Yeah, I know. We talked about this before.
And Onda's a resort.
Yeah. But see, I want a city or a large town. I do not want to live in the province. Now, that's where Danny lives, and that's all fun. That's great because he loves it.
Well, they got Tagline and Taliban on Bohol. They're pretty good-sized cities.
But
they're not a big city like Cebu.
No, like I said, Cebu may turn out to be too large for me. I don't know. But I'm going to start off there. Because I know Manila would be too large. Unless I lived in one of the outskirt places.
Onda looks very nice and comfortable.
But I want a good hospital close by. I want entertainment, such as a couple different malls, movie theaters, which the malls will have. And some decent restaurants that I could go to when I feel like I want some Western style cuisine. That's why I want the larger cities or the larger towns, because they'll have that. Your smaller places won't.
The resort areas all have that, and lots of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, what about the doctor? What about the hospital?
It's all in Bohol. They do have it, but it's not right there.
But how far is Ondo from Bohol?
An hour.
See, that's farther away than I want.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, no, you
would want to, if you live there, you would want to live more down towards Tagloran or Bohol.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like I said, that's why I say Iloilo, Davao, Ormoc, Taglaban, and Leyte. Actually, Angeles and Subic. I don't know how good Subic's hospital is. The infrastructure is very good down there.
To go to the hospital,
I think the hospital in Angeles is really good.
She has a bit of a ride to go to the hospital. To go to the dentist, he has a dentist right there.
Yeah. But like I said, but I'm just, like I said, though, you go to these larger cities, and I don't mean they have to be, they have it all right there, close to you.
Well, you want West Standard Medical.
Yeah, I want Western, as close as I can get to Western Standard Medical. The rest of it I can live with as the Filipino. I mean, Filipino food's fine for me. Like I said, the malls would be fine for me. Movies, the tourist sites that the Filipinos go to would be fine for me. I just want, because of my age, I want more closely what they call Western style medical care. Not the province, because the province has that. And let's be honest about it. I can live in places the United States has piss poor medical care. We all know that. The United States is not the best in the world for medical. They're good, but they're not the best.
Well, it depends on where you're at in the United States.
That's what I'm just saying. Overall, the overall rating is what I'm talking about. Yes, certain areas
is the best.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you go to Manila, you got the best healthcare, world class healthcare there. But I don't know how close I'm going to live to Manila. Cebu's got really good healthcare. So, actually, so does Dumaguete because of Sylvan University and Ace Hospitals. But so does Iloilo, so does Davao. They got some good hospitals. They may not be as good as Manila, but they should be good enough to keep me alive, if not good enough to keep me alive to get to these other places. And that's what I'm looking at. Like I said, the older you get, the more you got to think about your health.
Oh, I know. I'm getting up there myself.
Like I said, get up to my age, you'll think about it even more. And like I said, that's what would. If you ever watch Dan's Road to the Philippines, his channel, he's got a gorgeous house. Gorgeous place.
I haven't seen his house lately.
Huh?
I haven't seen his house lately. I seen it when they were building it.
Well, yeah, he just came back from the Philippines, so he's at the house. Just came back about a week or two ago. He just got back from his home. I mean, let's be honest about it. He considers the Philippines his home. He's back here working so he can retire. His wife is where his home is. And it's a gorgeous place and really nice, but it's farther out of the city than I want. When I was 20 years young, see, he's not even old enough to get his Social Security. His age, I might have thought about it. His age, I might have thought about it. I've never been a country boy, though. I've always been a city boy. Or I should say not a city, a large town. My hometown's only about 70,000 people. So I've always liked bigger towns and small cities. That's what I like. And that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. Now, Cebu, bigger than some of the cities I've been in, but not bigger than, I don't think, bigger than San Diego or Seattle. I lived in both of those for short periods of time in the Navy. San Diego, I loved, but I was in my 20s. But they also had great health care. But I was in the Navy, so I lived on a couple different apartments out in town. But I was still in the Navy, so my health care was free. Now my apartments I had to pay for.
Hey, by the time you get back to the Philippines, they'll probably have another Navy base or two there.
No, they won't have the base. They'll just be at a couple of different bases. I do not believe they'll get their own bases. It'll be shared base with the Philippines Navy, and the Philippine Navy will be in charge. I do believe that's the way it'll go, and that's the way it should go. Because I know what it was like when we had our bases. It was good for the military, but I'm not so sure it was good for the people. The girls that worked in the bars made a lot of money. They made more money than teachers and a lot of other professions.
No, they still do.
But how good is that for the people?
Well, exactly. It doesn't take care of enough people. It's a problem.
Yeah. But, most of the girls that were doing that back then were taking care of their families back home. A lot of times they were the oldest girl. Not always, but a lot of times they were the oldest girl. And a lot of the money they made, they sent back to their family to take care of the family.
I left a few employers over the years because they'd only use me as a part-time bartender and wouldn't give me a full-time shift because obviously I'm not as cute as some of the females. But, I would tend bar for 4 hours and walk away with $300 or $400. I, as their chef, manager, whoever I was, didn't make that in a day.
Yeah.
And it was like a big secret.
My younger brother, he worked at a Pizza Hut as a waiter. And he made more money in tips than the girls did. Because the girls always wanted to work with the young, good-looking guys, and they would flirt and stuff like that. But my brother would take whatever customers he got. A lot of times it was married men with families. And he was always boom, 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 always doing it, always doing it as quick as he could. Well, the girls spent a lot of time flirting with the boys, so they didn't get the good tips from the family guy. If my brother would get the good tips.
And, well, that happened to me at a restaurant I used to work at.
Well, one of the waitresses asked my cousin George, who was the manager, well, how come Gary's always making all this money? And he says, look, you're flirting with guys who are broke. They're not going to be able to give you a very good tip, but you're spending all your time flirting with them. These married guys who have their families with them, who are going to tip, you almost ignore, so they're not going to tip you very well. Gary pays attention to everybody that he serves, so they're going to tip him well. And that's why he gets better tips than you. Boom. That's plain and simple.
That used to happen every Friday night. I worked at a restaurant called Callaway's in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania. And I'd be done work at 9:30, and I'd be getting ready to walk out the door at 10 o'clock after having my shift drink in the back. And the manager would come in and say, hey, let's see who made what in tips tonight. And I could pull out for my Friday working from, say, lunch through dinner, like $300. And the waitresses, I always had as much or more money than they did. And they're like, how do you do this? And it was like just by what you said.
Yeah.
I had 2 extra hours, but the big thing was I had all the family parties.
Yeah.
I didn't take the waitress area and the bar area. I didn't do the 4 tables. I done 6s and bigger tables.
Yeah.
And
like I said, if you stay on top of it, they tip well.
I had
most of the time
bigger tips.
So most of the time, if you did a good job, they would tip well. Now you always got that cheap state. But
well, the manager used to kick me in the butt and say, "You fat bastard, you did it again." As he's sending me out the door laughing, he's like, "All these girls can't make as much as you because," and then he'd also point out, I sold the most specials. They always had a steak on that was a special. I always sold whatever they put on and wanted us to sell. I always sold the most.
Yeah.
And I sold the most so many times. They used to give whoever sold the most a $20 bill from the house. And I won that so many times they quit doing it. Because they're like, Ed, we're not going to just give you money.
Why not? That was the reward.
Well, the rest, yeah, but they just didn't want to hand me money. When I used to work lunchtime, they wanted me to go pick this guy up one day that didn't have his own ride to work.
Yeah.
I drove my truck to work I had bad inspection on it that day, which I didn't care about. I drove it anyhow. And I drove to work. I pulled in the parking lot. I got to work on time. I'm setting up the dining room. They're like, "Oh, we got an office party coming in." And I heard them talking. They weren't going to give it to me. They were going to give it to their little favorite, Tony. But Tony didn't have a ride to work, and the managers are not allowed to leave the house to go pick them up. And they wanted me to go get them. And I told them, forget it. I won't do it. I found my way to work. Let him find his. Yeah. Knowing that if he couldn't get to work, they had to give the table to me. But that's why should I go pick him up so you can give him my work? I should get the reward for being on time, ready to go, and but no, you're going to give it to your little golden boy. Forget it. You know how it is, Larry.
Like I said, well, like I said, when somebody called off sick when I was in high school working at the Bonanza Steakhouse, I was the first one they called every time because they knew I would come in. Like I said, I only refused one time in a year and 8 months to come in.
I call it getting hit by the fat police. I've always been a big guy, and I've always been discriminated against for it.
Well, back then I wasn't as fat.
Neither was I, but I've always been big.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was in better shape back then because I did a lot more walking. Now, during the winter months, I put on a little extra weight, but I lost it every spring and summer because of all those sports I played.
I was never their favorite or their pretty boy, so they always wanted to give it to somebody else. I've been dealing with it my whole life. And
well, like I said, mine, the only reason they called me was because they knew I'd come in. And a lot of the other guys wouldn't come in on their days off. That was it. It's my day off. I'm not going in. Or they'd call off. Or they'd be the ones calling off. And I never called off. My entire time working, I never called off. Only refused to go in once. And my manager was mad because I wouldn't go in. And I said, look, I'm sorry.
How much can you throw at me?
Huh?
You got to look at him and say, how much can you throw at me? I got a life too.
No, I just told him no. I said, I need a day off. Now, he apologized later, but he would just, because he couldn't get anybody to come in. He called me and I told him no, so he's trying to call on other people, and they weren't coming in, and I still wasn't coming in. But
that happened to me in the boat business one time. I met this girl. I was up all night chasing her around the hotel room, and Sunday morning came. I wanted to hang on to my pillow and sleep in a little bit and go to brunch and chase her around my hotel room some more. So I called my boss up and said, look, I'm not coming in. And the owner of the company freaked out. Why aren't I there? It's Sunday. We sell boats on Sunday. And I hadn't called off ever in years.
Yeah.
And I just told him, forget it. I'm not coming. I am off today. I am sick. Just mark me down as sick. And they
can work.
That's right. They couldn't say anything about it. I'm like, I'm making throw up sounds. Look, I'm going again, folks. Leave me alone. They got the hint. My boss kind of figured out what was going on when I showed up Monday with a sunburn.
Last time I actually got burnt, I was 18 and in the Navy. I was at, I can't remember if it was Mission Beach or one of the other beaches, Imperial Beach maybe, in San Diego. I fell asleep on the beach, and my legs got burnt. I mean, I hadn't been out of boot camp a couple of weeks at this time. And after my vacation, I was back maybe a week or two after I got back. I ran into some buddies that we were in boot camp together. We were in the same company. So we went to a San Diego Padres game against, I want to say it was the Phillies. And I don't remember who won, but first time I ever went to a professional baseball game. And then we went to the beach, and I fell asleep on the beach, and my legs were burnt. I mean, burnt.
I got a sunburn drinking beer in Penn Treaty Park in Philadelphia. It's where all the hipsters go to drink their beer.
What happened was I could hardly walk. Wearing a pair of pants hurt. It hurt. And every morning I'd get up and I'd shake the sheets out, and there'd be dead skin everywhere. It would peel off on me.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For about 2 weeks, I was in pain. But I didn't go to I didn't go to the sick bay because in the Navy, I probably any branch, but I know in the Navy you get a real or you can get written up for it. So I guess guys used to do that in World War One or World War II to get out of duty. They get a real bad sunburn, and so they started writing them up for it.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Penn Treaty Park was always fun in Philly. If you showed up with cans of beer and didn't have them out all over the place, you kept your area nice and neat. They never said a word to you. If you had beer bottles or contact with the police, they wrote you up for public drinking and threw you out, basically.
Well, now see, we went to Admiral Park, which was on the military base, and drinking was not prohibited.
Drinking was prohibited, and you know what was funny? You could be sitting there smoking pot too, and as long as you weren't smoking it in the cop's face and had your no more than like a couple cans of beer out, they didn't say a word to you because they didn't want to bother you. But if you had glass, because they didn't want anybody walking around cutting their feet, people like kids, you had a problem.
Yeah. Now, like I said, the Admiral Park was, like I said, 32nd Street base, and wasn't in where the ships were at. It was part of the base, but it was away from the ocean. And a lot of the ships would have their ship parties there because on base, it didn't matter how old you were. If you were in the military, you could drink beer.
Sure.
Okay. And so there would be
it's
beer
always
at the
been that
party
way.
and food. Well, not always. That happened in 1972 is when they lowered the drinking age in the military. Well, matter of fact, it was right before I got out of boot camp, or right when I started boot camp, is when they lowered the drinking age in the military to 18, which meant effectively it was 17 because if you ordered a beer, you could join at 17. So if you walked into the club and ordered a beer, they didn't card to see if you were 18. It was only ordered a mixed drink. Because in San Diego, the drinking age was 21. The
military's got a lot of great laws.
Yeah, but the way the military ran it, if your state said you could drink alcohol at 18, you could drink alcohol, regular alcohol, mixed drinks on base. But if the state said the drinking age was 21, well, you could drink beer, 3-2 beer, but not hard liquor.
Right.
On base. Well, San Diego, 21 was the drinking age, so we could drink 3-2 beer, but we couldn't drink hard liquor. So that effectively said if you're 17, you could drink 3-2 because they weren't carding you unless you ordered a mixed drink, hard liquor.
That's what I kind of liked about Virginia when I was there. Outside of all the bases, all the pizza places had beer and wine. They had ABC liquor laws.
Yeah.
If you're a pizza place, you just got to apply for a license and they give it to you, and you can serve beer and wine and run like a bar on Friday night.
Well,
Indiana, you had to have a C license.
Indiana, if you sell food, you can have a liquor license, beer license at least.
New York's the same way, by the way.
But it has to be a certain portion of your business.
In Pennsylvania, you got to sell beer, wine, or alcohol, period.
Well,
you got to have a liquor license.
In Indiana, there's a 2-way and a 3-way license. 2-way is beer and wine. 3-way is beer, wine, and hard liquor. So, it was easier to get the 2-way than the 3-way if you were a food place. Although you could get the 3-way.
Pennsylvania being a lot nicer place, and I think the restaurants would do better if they would allow anybody who sells food a beer and wine license.
Yeah. But like I said, it has to be a certain percentage of the business in Indiana. I can't remember what the percentage is. But once they passed that, there was bars because they started selling food. Like there's one bar, we call it, the name of the bar is Ballyhoo. Now, the Ballyhoo is at Indiana State University. Now, it used to be off campus, but the campus has grown up where it's almost all the way around it. But the Ballyhoo won't sell because they do so well. Well, what they did was they started selling pizza and delivering it so they could stay open on Sundays and stuff like that. And because for Sunday liquor, you had to be more of a restaurant, basically. You couldn't just be strictly a bar and be open on Sunday at that time. We're talking 40 years ago, maybe more. But about 40 years ago now, the rules could have changed. I don't know. But so a lot of places, like I said, selling food so they could be open more and on Sundays where they so they could sell, because you couldn't sell booze on Sunday. You couldn't go to the liquor store and buy booze on Sunday. But if you sold food in your restaurant, you could sell booze.
Well, do you know why they did away with the Sunday blue laws, especially here in Pennsylvania? I don't know about everywhere else. It's all about commerce. It's all about tax money.
Yeah. Like I said, they may have changed it. I'm talking 35, 40 years ago.
When I was a little kid back in the 60s, the stores were closed on Sunday.
No, the stores were open.
By the 70s, they had them open on Sunday. And the reason why they did it, they said they did it because people wanted to shop. No, the state wanted the damn sales tax money and all the other tax money they collect.
But like I said, the stores were open, but they couldn't sell alcohol. Even if they had it there, they could not sell it. And you had liquor stores that were just liquor stores. They couldn't sell. They probably changed those laws, like you said, since then. I don't know, because when I left Indiana over 25 years ago now, they still couldn't sell alcohol on Sunday.
I like the beer wine law in Florida.
Now, to get around that, you go to these bars that sold food. Sometimes they'd sell you a 6-pack to go.
Well, the place I used to go to lunch in Florida was a place called Char Hut. They had these charbroiled burgers.
Yeah.
And they were just a burger and fry joint, a couple of other simple menu items.
Yeah.
But they had these little mini pitchers that they would sell you for $5. So everybody was there at lunchtime getting a burger, a fry, and a mini pitcher, and they'd only let you have 2 mini pitchers. If you wanted the second mini pitcher, you had to buy a ticket. And when you were buying your burger. And all the homeless guys you'd see there with their carts parked out front at lunchtime. It used to be funny as hell. Because all them homeless guys are sitting there getting a burger, a fries, and 2 pitchers. Tying their load on to go hang out under the bridge after they were done. After lunch.
Well, like
it's funny.
Yeah. Hey, I've been going for 3 hours. I don't know how many people still in the chat. Not too many. Dan, if you're still there, thanks for coming. Singo, if you're there, thanks for coming. Anybody still there? We appreciate you coming. And I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I know I did. Like I said, I enjoyed talking to people. Any of you that's there, the next time, if you want, come on up. I'll let you, just like Big Mac Daddy did and Dan did. You just click on the link above, and I'll put you in the chat. We can have more than one other person in here if you want. It's all right with me. This is what I enjoy doing, talking with somebody. So I'm going to say good night. It's going on 11 o'clock here. It's almost 11 now. By 1 o'clock is 11:02. So it's after 11. And I'm going to have to get ready to go to bed here pretty soon. So take care, everybody. Yeah, I'll be on next Sunday. I mean Saturday. Sunday in the Philippines. Saturday here in the States. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming. Remember now, be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Plus, as always, try to have fun. Bye.
Bye.